I'm gonna die. Yep, nice and easy. We're done with that though. Is it the jump rope? Yeah. Whenever I skip rope, I can't use these wireless headphones. They fall right out of my ears. So of course, it would be helpful if I could get the rope itself not to fall out of my hands. Finish my protein shake, then we'll hit this. New name, who this? Yes, sir. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bull Muscle. For those of you who know me as Beer Battered Ag, yes, I'm going through a rebrand. This seems like a pretty good time to talk about that, so let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm a die-hard Aggie.
The eyes of Texas are upon you. That is the song they sing so well. Sounds like hell! So goodbye to Texas University. We're gonna beat you all to chigger-a-rim, rock tough, real stuff, Texas A&M. Goodbye.
We get a little bit more all. So why can't I click all? Oh, yeah, there it goes. Nice. Alright, let's do one more bronze bar.
If you adopt the mindset, and this is a quote from Jacob Fisker of Early Retirement Extreme, if you know that guy, 10 points to you. But it's a quote that I find unbelievably poignant in today's era. Spending money represents a failure to solve one's problems by smarter means. I'm gonna repeat that. Spending money represents a failure to solve one's problems by smarter means. That's painful. But yes, my friends, pure protein, as theirs makes no difference from raw egg whites. It's disgusting, the taste is vile, and it smells, but 100, yeah, my poor roommate has to deal with the farts that come from this, and as you might imagine, they're not pleasant. But let me go ahead and knock this bad boy down. Oh, that's vile. Yep, nice and easy. We're done with that though. Is it the jump rope? Yeah. Whenever I skip rope, I can't use these wireless headphones. They fall right out of my ears. So of course, it would be helpful if I could get the rope itself not to fall. Welcome on in, everybody. How are we doing this morning? Good morning, chat. Beautiful. Fantastic. Cat Bro's already in here. Good to see you. Good to see you. How you doing, bud? It's 7 o'clock. It's not that early where you are. Welcome. You know, a lot on the whole agenda today. Today's gonna be a very busy day for me. I got a lot to do. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I've got pool day today, and then I've also got a fair amount of housework to do. Oh, hey, we got a logical Canadian. I ain't seen you in a hot minute. Welcome. Good to see you. Oh, legs are feeling a lot better today. Try skipping on one leg at a time, hit like 15 seconds and then switch. I'm gonna do that tomorrow, actually. I wanna talk about that. Severus, busy working, still be lurking? Hey, it's all good by me, man. Lab boys, my man. Actually, I wanted to talk to Kareem. Welcome on in. I want to talk to all y'all about this. So, first thing I'll do is put my towels over here for now. Second thing I'm going to do is show you guys. So I have been quite busy, as y'all can tell. I've cleaned and organized my workbench. So I've got all my automotive stuff, my electrical, and my, various tools. And then what I want to get done today is I'm going to try and install this wonderful wall bag that my main man Lab Boys got me for my birthday. I think I'm going to install it over here. No, the grill's not going to stay there. It's just where I've decided to keep it for now. But I'm going to probably throw it there. I thought about throwing it here, but it's not. If I did that, I'd have to move the weight tree over, and I don't really want to do that. It's not really a good place to move it. Just kind of want like the ability to hit the wall bag from whatever angle. I feel like if I'm hitting it from here, I don't know. I'd also probably have to move the shelf, and I don't want to do that. So that's sort of the plan. But today, I want to try and hang that up. And the reason I'm not going to do more jump rope, Lab Boys, is because tomorrow, as you can see, I've also got, thanks to my main man Lab Boys, I got the Fairtex hanging up. I also like the way that looks. And the old Everlast gloves I'm going to let my roommate use, which would be fun. I kind of want to teach her how to throw some punches and shit. But with this, tomorrow my goal is going to be have it installed, and then we're going to do more of like a cardio hit boxing style workout. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I've been really productive in here. I've cleaned things up. What I really want to do, and I may end up doing this today, is sweeping out the gym. The problem with it is that because we park 2 cars in here, this has to function as a garage as well. Inevitably, dirt, mud, leaves, stuff like that just gets tracked in, and there's nothing you can really do about it. As you got to see, you got to see how far over the studs are. I've been hunting for the 9-volt battery I have, and I just can't seem to find it. I know, in general, for framing and construction, there will be probably a stud here, a stud here, a stud here, and a stud pretty close to the corner. I'm guessing I'm going to use the 2 middle ones, so that way, I'm probably not going to throw too many kicks, but I'd like to be able to, if I want to try and throw a kick, have the ability to do that. So I want it a couple of feet over from the corner. So I think it should be good there. Yeah, but I need to go get a 9-volt battery and then figure out how to install this thing. It didn't actually come with instructions, so I'm gonna have to go look that up online, which is fine. That's the modern way of the world anyhow, but So masculine, all the construction lingo. Actually, that brings me to something I'd love to talk about, and that's giving back. For those of you who don't have a whole lot of construction competency and would like to learn it, but don't have any of the tools or skills, go volunteer for your local Habitat for Humanity. It'll give you the skills you need, and you're doing something good for someone. You're giving sweat equity. So that's a really good idea. So Jigga Man, if you're looking for ways to hone your construction knowledge, that's a really easy one. You see how far over the studs are. You constructed that booty. Well, that is true. Hey, construction of the booty came through squat day. And I see we're already over 15 viewers. Hell, that's pretty good. Before even starting the main workout today, you guys are already getting the egg white chug. Clayton Kershaw is nothing but a whiny, entitled little brat who only got a ring because Cash screwed the pooch in 2020. All I'm going to say about that is that he played on the Dodgers, so I don't like him. I'm just saying, the Dodgers in general the Dodgers are so unlikable, they almost made me want to root for Houston even though they were in the middle of their cheating scandal. Like, shit, quit being a little bitch about it. As a Nationals fan, beat the cheaters like a man. Look, we did it with fucking 41-year-old Fernando Rodney, okay? I'm just saying. All right, so let's start with today's pull-ups, squats. Lab boys, I'm just telling you, man, I'm convinced too, because actually, I'm gonna do a set and then we're gonna talk about that. You know what? I actually feel like doing things differently today. The only good Dodger out of this whole ordeal is Dodger Zion Facts. And she's not a Dodgers fan anyway. She's a Phillies fan, so. Which, to be fair, that tracks. She's from South Jersey, so she should be a Philly fan. Actually, speaking of, I'm going to go ahead and rev for Dodger for a moment here, because she's actually having, I think she was telling me about this last night. A good friend of hers, the wonderful Phil's fan on her streams, is going to the Philadelphia. Speaking of, I think they're playing the Dodgers in a couple of days. It's on Sunday, and Dodger is going to be doing a marathon stream from noon to midnight Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. I'll probably raid her after I do my rest day RuneScape stream. And then, here's the really cool part. Phil's fan apparently knows one of the guys playing for the Phillies. I guess he's well connected. And they expressed interest on coming on Dodger stream for an interview. So she may actually get to deadass interview a real MLB player. And I don't care who you are, that's just freaking cool. So, are you gonna do jumping jacks? I already warmed up with jump ropes, I don't think it's necessary. If y'all want me to do them, I can. But yeah, illogical, how dope is that, right? Like, this is one of the things I love most about Twitch streaming. The people you meet and learn and talk to and know ends up making so many connections. I'll talk to you all about my going up to Burlington and whatnot. That shit was great too. Let me do a set here first. I think that was either 19 or 20. I'm gonna call it 19. Hey, welcome on it. Dildo the Eagle. That is a name right there. Not a troll. Hey, it's okay. I just changed my name to Bull Muscle, which a lot of people have had a lot of opinions on. So, I remember the time I interviewed an actual NHL player. I can't believe it's been a year and a half since then. Dude, that's awesome. Who'd you interview? So, speaking of connections, from Discord and from social media and from, hey, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate that. I believe that brings us to 1,377. So we're moving on up. If we carry on at this pace, we may well hit 2,000 by the end of the year, which would be really cool. Player was Bobby Ryan. Cool. But speaking of things that you learn and get from connections, I had the distinct pleasure of going up to Burlington, North Carolina last week. Now, if you guys have watched the new tree video that came out, Yins are at the bat, you guys will see me at the end of the video. I was the guy who came up with the MV tree chant, 100% taking credit for that because it was my idea. So, yeah, you'll see me. I'm in a Nationals shirt. Yeah, I know. You'll actually get to see me with a shirt on for a change, but yeah, I was in a Nat shirt. We were all going nuts for him. Dude, there were like maybe 10 of us sitting right behind home plate. Like it was just, the rest of the crowd was like mostly normal, people from Burlington who just wanted to watch the game. There were like 10 of us who were fans of Tree and Five, and all we did was shitpost the entire game in real life. Like it
We just sat there, started yelling at him. Oh, I think I came up with a pretty good quip. They didn't get it on video, but when Five was going up to bat, or Five was, sorry, I wasn't going up to bat, but Five was sitting there watching on the sidelines during the home run derby, and I'm like, just because you're old and bald doesn't make you Dusty Baker. Get on up there, Five. And that actually made him bust out laughing, so. That was admittedly one of my better quips. Baseball YT game looked like, dude, that was fun as hell. We had a blast. Now, Tree, one thing I love about Tree is he is super down to earth, he's just a good old Pennsylvania boy, honestly. He's very humble, he's affable, he's very approachable, and he hasn't changed. That's what I like the most about him. He's the same person that he was in 2019 when I first got to meet him in real life. And I love that. I love the hair, man. I appreciate it. So, I actually did the mohawk at first for a follower challenge that y'all completed, and it's kind of grown on me, both literally and metaphorically, so I like it, so I'm keeping it. It's just, yeah, gotta jump out, but hey, hit me up after stream. We figure out a time to video call, talk about the boxing shit this weekend. Wanna make sure you get your form right so you don't fuck up your shoulder. Shoulder pain equals no bench. No bench equal, no, that's factually untrue, sir. But shoulder pain does equal no squat, and no squat equals no gains, sir. All right. Hey, yo, by the way, speaking of great YouTube channels to go and check out, go give my boy Lab Boys TV on YouTube some love. He makes great content. If you guys like supporting smaller YouTubers, his shit's fantastic. Does BMX, MMA, I'm sure loads of other really cool shit to follow. So much love. Always give the homies the shout out. Anyway, so I know I'm stalling, but I have a lot to talk to you guys about. And frankly, it's Friday, so I work a 410. I don't have anywhere to be. The only things I gotta do today are, well, actually I do have a fair amount of shit to do. I do need to install the wall bag. For that, I'm gonna probably need to get a drill, which I'll probably borrow from my neighbors. We're pretty cool like that. We borrow stuff all the time from each other. It's a whole lot easier than having to go out and buy shit. Get to know your neighbors. Like that's a great money saving tip. Not every single person needs power tools. If all of y'all have one power tool and then you're willing to share it with each other, you save so much money. So that's a pretty good financial savings technique, which is important because it's Financial Fitness Friday, and after the workout we will be talking stocks, finances, and all that jazz. Let's hit another set. Yeah, I was 18, just 37 and 2. What else do I need to do today? I'm gonna go up to the grocery store, get my weekly groceries, because I really only need to plan to Thursday again, because Dodger and I very luckily got the beach house in Myrtle once again for one more time next weekend. So if y'all are in or around the Myrtle Beach, South Carolina area and you'd like to hang out with me, here's your chance. Love meeting my fans on in real life. Yes, Tree did get a hit. It was a thing of beauty. It was Bartolo Colon-esque. And frankly, watching Bartolo Colon swing a baseball bat is precisely the reason that I hate the DH rule. And one reason I like that it was different for American versus National League. I'm sorry, I don't care if it's technically inferior to having a DH. Watching pitchers swing the bat like that is just hilarious. I love all the little quirks in baseball.
And I feel like taking the DH and making it a 100% of the league thing isn't just fun. So there's a hot take for you. I don't like the designated hitter rule being applied to the National League. So, since today is our pull day, I need to figure out what all we're gonna do. Some good shrugs. We did trap bar shrugs yesterday. Or sorry, the last time we did pull-ups. I think I'm gonna do dumbbell shrugs today, or I could do straight bar shrugs. Straight bar shrugs might be the move. And then I could transition straight into rows. Let's do that. Let's do that. That sounds like fun. But you're not going north? Yeah. We've been talking about that the last few days. My condolences to anybody who's having to live in the Northeast right now. That does not look fun. And it's not just New York City. Boston, Philadelphia, Albany, Buffalo, and Toronto, but you know, Toronto's already hell on earth. You don't need to make it any worse. For legal purposes, that was a joke. I'm sorry, Canadians, please explain to me what the point of Toronto is. You have the housing crisis of San Francisco and the weather of Cleveland. Where's the upside? Like, what? Why would anyone want to live in Toronto? I really do not understand the appeal. It's not as culturally vibrant as New York. It's more expensive than New York. The taxes are higher than New York. The weather's worse than New York. And I don't even think New York is that great of a place to be. Like, even within Canada, I feel like Montreal would be way more interesting as a city to live in, even though you got to deal with Frenchy people. Or Quebec City. Or hell, honestly, even good old Hamilton. Because at least Hamilton is a lot more affordable. Toronto gave the world a rush. And that's really about the best thing I could say about Toronto. I'm sorry, Canada, it's just not your best city. Your hockey team, oh. Dude, the Leafs are the gift that just keeps on giving. The Leafs make me happy because they are the biggest clown show of the National Hockey League. Somehow, they are a bigger clown show than Arizona, even though Arizona is objectively a far worse team. I love that. This is awesome. I'll love talking to you guys at this. And I'm not going fast. I should probably move a little bit faster, but there's a lot we got to talk about. It's nice. Also, Allie Bagel, welcome back in. I have not seen you in a hot minute, girl. I do know you're probably affected by these fires a lot worse than us. So heart goes out to you, hoping you, your loved ones are safe and okay. So shout out to Allie Bagel for popping in. Let's do another set. Also, yes, please move the Coyotes to Houston already. I want to see a Houston-Dallas rivalry in hockey. They will beat the shit out of each other and it'll be great. Better still, move the Edmonton Oilers to Houston just to piss off Alberta. No, don't actually do that one. Edmonton deserves its fan base. And nonstop. Hey, let's go! Honestly, sometimes we had rain. It was pretty bad here, at least for rural South Carolina standards. The air is usually very high quality here. But it got a little bit hazy and then rain washed it all away, so it was nice. All right, here we go. 17. So that's 19, 37, 54. Not bad. You want to give Daryl Case another half-baked scheme? I mean, I just like that because I think the Houston Oilers is a cool name. Swung and missed with Chiarelli, that's true. No, the Oilers blow my mind. Honestly, you know what they are? The Oilers are the Boston Bruins West. Too much reliance on top-end talent, not enough depth. Decompressing, do a lot of gardening, can't do a lot in the rain. Fair. Well, I will say, I bet the weather's getting really nice up there, apart from the fires. All right, so if we're gonna do shrugs, no, we're gonna do shrugs with flat bar. Leave that there. We'll hit, see, I don't wanna hit biceps before I hit rows. We'll finish pull-ups first. So we're at 54 now. I'd like to get another pretty solid set here. So should give you guys an update on the cut cycle. I'm gonna hit it a lot more seriously this month. Already off to a good start, had 3 really good days. I think 2,400 calories, 2,100 calories, and 2,300 calories, all north of 200 grams of protein. So I've been eating really well the last few days. I want to really turn that into a streak and just carry on until 4th of July. Because I feel like if I can do that, the abs will be looking pretty fire come Independence Day. So yeah. All right. Let's hit another set. Yeah, I love this. Always good to have you guys in chat. But Allie, I'm glad you're okay. My heart does go out to the people in Canada. As much as I love to rip on y'all, Canada is our closest and most important ally. So what's good for Canada is very often good for the United States. That being said, watching the Leafs fail is a never-ending source of comedy for us Americans. And frankly, I feel like most of Canada agrees about that. That being said, pay more attention to Saskatchewan and Alberta and Manitoba. There's actually legit a movement. I heard about this the other day. A movement for those 3 provinces to secede and join the United States. And well, we've already got Texas. I don't think we need North Texas, which is what, like Alberta's already it's Canada's Texas. Y'all need to be losing them. Alberta's great. 1 Texas per nation is enough. No one dies is a good outcome. Always good to hear. All right, here we go. 2, 3. That's 15. 69, 4, nice. New Mom in Sin City. Yes. Hey, Cozy Sin, thank you very much for the follow. So, I've had this hot take, and I was actually, so you know all the big baseball YouTubers that were on Tree's stream, or that was playing baseball with him in Burlington, right? So we was at a bar the day before the game. I was talking to him, and I was explaining to them one of my personal pet theories that I think would be a really great idea. And that theory is quite simple. I believe that the Oakland Athletics are looking at the wrong city to relocate to. They should relocate, and they need to get out of Oakland. And I feel so bad for saying that, because the fans deserve a better take. But the city of Oakland is broke. The city of Oakland has crime problems, and the city of Oakland has a full-blown housing crisis. Oakland does not need a professional sports team right now, especially if they're going to have to pay money to fund the stadium. So, where do I think the Athletics ought to move to? The answer is very simple. It's a city that would give the Athletics 2 in-state rivalries within the same division. It's a city with a massively growing population. It's a city with a huge Hispanic population, which statistically it is provable they tend to be more interested in baseball, which is one of many things I love about Hispanic culture, by the way. The city in question is San Antonio, Texas. Tell me why that wouldn't be a good idea. I think San Antonio would kill it. Look at how well they support the Spurs. There's a reason for that. People don't understand just how massive San Antonio is. It's substantially bigger than Austin, and Austin's a big city. In fact, population depopulation, I'm pretty sure San Antonio is bigger than Oakland is at this point, and Las Vegas. But the biggest reason I think they should leave Oakland is because the only cure to California's obscene housing crisis is more density. It's a math problem. So, how do you build more density? Well, a really great idea would be to take the land that's currently being used for a giant and rotting stadium, because the Coliseum is sufficiently out of date, let's put it that way. The Coliseum was a great place to go in the 70s. It's not as great anymore, to put it mildly. So, what you could do is if you allowed for ultra-dense housing, I'm not saying Kowloon walled city, but like Manhattan level density, where the Oco Coliseum currently is, you could probably throw 20 to 30,000 people's worth of apartments in that complex. And if you did that, you would transform Oakland's housing problems in a massive way. You would alleviate a giant part of the problem. And in doing so, you would also generate immense amount of tax revenue because you'd have far more residents. So to me, the most obvious answer here is to let the Athletics go. I'm sorry for all the Oakland Athletics fans out there. You deserve a better fate. But this is an opportunity for your city to fix some of its most dire problems. Don't lose this opportunity. Let the Athletics move to San Antonio. Also because I will personally vouch for San Antonio as the best big city in Texas. And as such, I believe San Antonio deserves a little bit more love on the sports map. The Spurs, again, are a fantastic fan base. And for the UFL, for the USFL, for the XFL, for all of these startup football leagues, they always pick San Antonio as a town to start in. Why? Well, it's because San Antonio is a great underrated city. Not to mention, San Antonio, you're going to get fan bases from the valley and even parts of northern Mexico. There's no reason San Antonio can't host a few games a year at a place like Monterrey or a place like Mexico City. You do that, you're expanding baseball's appeal, expanding its reach, and maybe allowing in a decade or two for us to put some baseball teams in Mexico and start making the World Series a true World Series. Also, that is part of a pipe dream of mine. If I were king for a day, I would pursue ties with Mexico to make Mexico as close an ally to the United States as Canada is. I think Mexico is just as valuable a partner to the United States, or rather could be, as Canada currently is. I think we neglect our relationship with Mexico and oversimplify it. I do believe that what is good for Canada is good for the United States, and similarly, what is good for Mexico is largely good for the United States. And for those of you who are wondering, what do you mean? Well, take immigration. It's a whole lot easier to control immigration at the 100-odd mile border between Mexico and Guatemala than it is from the 2,000-mile border between Mexico and the United States. If you help Mexico improve its own lot, improve its own standing, you can make the immigration problem a lot more manageable. So we should be doing as much as we can to help stabilize the nation of Mexico. Yeah, they could be an absolutely fantastic ally, and I don't think we engage them the way we should. All right, let's hit another rep here. We're gonna hit rows now. I know I'm going slow, but I like talking to you guys. Here we go. Actually, you know what? I'll move you guys down here. Oh, come up just a bit. There we go. All right, this is 175 pounds. I was repping this for 7-8 last time. I'd like to get 9 here. 1, 2. And come on. Come on. That's not ideal. I'm sore. The last 2 days definitely were hard. I can feel that soreness. Yeah, I can feel my back's pretty sore today. That squat workout I did a couple days ago was really hard, and I'm still feeling it. You know, most squat workouts, I don't feel it, what is this, almost 2 days after. The fact that I'm still feeling it tells me all I need to know. All right, so what did we do last time on rows? We're gonna do 2 more sets on rows at 175. Back just popped. Hey, Voexoro, thank you very much. Yeah, I know my form wasn't the best there. I do need to probably drop weight. I'm gonna probably go for fewer reps on that, and just, I wanna stay with the heavy stuff. Really try and work on explosiveness, but go for fewer reps. Just accept that I'm not going to get as many today. Welcome, Sardonic Jeff, and thanks for commenting on that. Hey Jesse, thanks for the returning chat, by the way. Love having new followers. Welcome on in, everybody. What I will do, actually, back up a little bit so that way you guys get a slightly better view. Jesse, can you form check me again on this one? I'm gonna psych myself up a little bit more. Try and hit, maybe instead of 9, go for like 6. Really focus on getting good form. Alright? So form check me on this. Go for underhand grip this time. I need more. I need a better song for this. Let's get a little Black Sabbath going. Here we go. Oh yeah, Sardonic Jeff, thanks for the first time chat. As you see, as always, I'm French. And Europe works so differently from America. Well, I don't speak French, and if I tried to, I'd probably butcher it. But bonjour. Thank you for coming up, for showing out. I will say I have quite a large European audience because of the time at which I stream. I've had people from Sweden, Portugal, the United Kingdom. I've never had someone from France though, so this is very nice. Your English is very good, by the way. So welcome, Cozy Sim. I actually do have quite a bit of fondness for France in a lot of ways. As a nuclear engineer, I admire the French nuclear program. The TGV is one of the most beautiful trains ever created, and I appreciate the French pioneering efforts in the high-speed rail. And, well, frankly, between the wine, the bread, and the cheese, y'all have the food thing kind of on pat. So definitely, there's a lot about the French mindset that I actually like. Y'all have I'm a nuclear engineer. Yes, I am. I work in a nuclear site here in South Carolina. All right, so let me. Ooh, a bit lightheaded. All right, so Jesse, form check me here as well. I'm gonna go ahead and do another set. We're going to underhand grip this time. Come on. Yeah, I need to go down weight. I'm weak today. I don't like it. Yeah, we'll drop weight. I don't like it. We'll drop to 155. Yes, as for my day job, I can't talk too much about it, but I do work in the nuclear industry. Form look better, underhand grip is better for me. I feel like they're about the same for me. A lot of Americans know how to say oui oui baguette in French. Now there is one part of the United States that has a fantastic French heritage. I have quite a couple friends who are from this region. It's the Acadiens, as they're called in French, but we call them Cajuns. That is southern Louisiana. A lot of the original French immigrants who either moved there from France directly or moved there from Quebec when the British took it over in the late 1700s. It settled in the bayous and the swamps, and I would argue that is the best food in the world, by the way. If you've never had good Cajun, there's nothing better. It's so good. Thanks, Jesse, I appreciate it. You're talking about nothing beats a good Roquefort. The problem is good French cheese is very expensive here. So a lot of the time I'll get cheeses from the United States, which actually there are some American cheese makers that are very good. It's just the reputation of American cheese is quite poor. And there are good reasons for that, but there are a lot of small cheese makers in Wisconsin, predominantly Wisconsin, Vermont, and the Midwest that make good stuff. Jesse, have I ever tried HIT? Yeah, actually, I was gonna do HIT tomorrow. I have a big old wall bag over here that my roommate gave, or not my roommate, my brother gave me for my birthday. And all I need to do is mount it on the wall. And then I'm gonna be doing that tomorrow. Ooh. Now when it comes to fruit and flavored cheeses, I think the British do it really well with cranberry Wensleydale. That's my favorite fruit infused cheese. Okay, so we're gonna do gonna do 2 sets at 155 and then we'll go down to 125 for a wide grip. That sounds good. I'm gonna send you my hit progress on Discord. It's insane. Insanely effective. I will say, HIIT's really good, but there's a limit as to how many of those workouts I like doing. The trouble with HIIT is that you're gonna be very winded. And while that's great, it's not quite as good in terms of being able to engage an audience while you're streaming. So I do a fair amount of cardio. I play Ultimate Frisbee on Tuesdays. So HIIT generally isn't like my go-to, but I can agree HIIT's a very effective way to train. All right. That being said, speaking of good wine, I actually am an amateur vintner myself. Because of where I live, I have wild grapes that grow on my property, and I do make wine for them every year. So that's kind of neat. All right, let's hit another set. This will be overhand grip. Jesse, monitor my form again. And you don't have to wear a weightlifting belt for this. I just feel a little bit more comfortable when I do for a rows. It's not critical, but it's a nice piece of safety gear, I would say. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on. I don't like that last one. Come on! Oh, nope. Yeah, I'm just really sore from the last 2 days. That sucks. Oh well. Hey, Jovan. I did change my name. If y'all want to know why, I can talk about that. I've said it a lot of times, so I don't want to go too that too much. Still looks too heavy. Why? What about my form is saying it's too heavy? Am I not going far up enough? Is my back angle wrong? If you're going to say it still looks too heavy, I need you to elaborate. So I'm not saying you're wrong, but give me some details. Check your Discord. All right. I'm kind of in the middle of streaming, so I don't try to do this too much, but do something to do while I'm resting. How am I doing? I'm doing all right. Looking in the fitness channel. What channel did you put it in there, Jesse? Because I don't see it. Let me see here. Yeah, I don't see it in here. I haven't got anything in my DMs. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's pretty damn effective. Looking good, my guy. Respect. You're looking good in both, but it looks to me as though, in particular, your chest, your shoulders are a lot more defined in the picture on the right. Very nice. Feel free to post that in my server, by the way. I actually do have a guru role for those of you who are like, you know what your shit is, you've been lifting for years, and you want to share the information you have to help people. So by all means, do that. All right, let me do one more set on this, and then we're gonna go down to 125 for wide grip. Just looks like you aren't coming up high enough. Okay, yeah, I'd agree with that. It's a little bit deceptive because of how tall I am. I agree though, on some of those, I felt like I was coming up high enough on like the first 5, 6, 7 reps, and then I wasn't getting high enough on 8, 9, 10. So ideally I should be going, right, I should just about be hitting the belt, or I should be hitting my rib cage. I feel like I was a couple inches off, so I agree with that. I'd say you're not wrong. I'd say you're right on that. It's aggravating. I'm normally able to do this hitting my rib cage or hitting my belt all the time. Killer. Thanks, Jesse. Yeah, you should be proud of that, dude. You're in great shape. Kudos. Let's get a little sound garden on this morning, I'm feeling like. A little bad oh, come on, really? The part I love about the Deep South the least. I have 2 Dynatraps running directly outside of my gym, and I still get killed by mosquitoes in the mornings and in the evenings, basically all the time, because I live in South Carolina. Only place I've ever seen them more aggressive is Louisiana. They are bastards here. All right, I'm gonna get ready. We'll do one more set on this underhand. We'll go from there. And then, yeah, I'm gonna go down late. Yeah, Jesse, you're absolutely rocking it, man. That's good shit. I do love South Carolina, though. As much as the mosquitoes drive me insane, it's a small price to pay for all the great stuff that is here, and for how affordable it is. The cost of living crisis has kind of missed the Deep South, unless you live in Atlanta or Charlotte, or Raleigh. But Raleigh's not the Deep South. All right, underhand grip. Here we go. 2, 3. Come on. I don't like it, but yeah, I gotta go down weight this week today. That sucks. I normally get 10 of those. Oh, there's the lightheaded. That's irritating. That's alright, we'll hit wide grip, don't hit shrugs. I'm pissed off. Normally I hit that, no problem. Guess I didn't sleep very well last night, maybe that's it. I don't know, I'm pissed off about that. That's a regression from last week. How many did we do at 125 last week? We did 145. We're not hitting that today. No. No. We're deep? No. Because of the mosquitoes, I try my best not to keep things open apart from screen windows. So the ventilation here is not great. And deep and all the, bug sprays, they smell. They make it harder to work out. Hey, Exile228, thank you very much for the follow. I feel like I got high enough on about the first 6 of those again, and then and then I couldn't keep it squeezing up quite as hard. Yeah, I saw Donald Trump got indicted for classified documents. Now, as someone who has to deal with classified work for his job, I have some pretty strong feelings about this. Do I believe Donald Trump acted with bad intent there? Yes, I do. Do I think he should go to jail for this? Yes, I do. Because if I did what he did, I'd be in jail. Do I think Hillary and Joe Biden should also be in jail for their classified documents mishandling? Sure do. You have to, if you are going to apply a standard, you must apply the standard without bias or political favor. So, there was classified content in some of Hillary's emails. Now, there is a difference here. I would say, based on what I've heard was leaked, most of what was considered classified in that email server was overclassified information and non-nuclear information. Whereas with Trump, a lot of what was found was nuclear information, and that's a huge difference. So Trump's, both are illegal actions. But what Trump did is a different scale. But that being said, Trump, Hillary, Biden have all they've been obscenely negligent at absolute best and outright criminal at worst. So, for those of you who want to hear me go into politics, we can go that rant. In fact, we actually have a mail truck just went by at a way higher speed than he should have been. Sorry, I had ADHD moment there. But we actually do have an adult topics channel on my Discord. So if you want to talk politics or anything like that on me, this is an 18 plus server, so we can talk about all sorts of stuff like that. But in general, when it comes to classified information, look, the way I view it through the lens of, if I did this, would I go to jail? And for what Hillary did, the answer is yes. For what Biden did, the answer is yes. And for what Trump did, the answer is, oh my God, yes. And I don't care whether or not you're president. We have a term in this country called rule of law. And that means the law applies equally to everyone. So if you're going to apply a rule of law, well, apply it, frankly. Anywho, yeah, if y'all got questions about what I do or any of that stuff, I can talk to a certain extent. There is a limit as to what I can tell you about what I do for my job. Listen, I love American politics debates rather than real TV shows. Don't remind me. Dude, I hate identity politics. I care a lot more about economic and environmental issues. Say in general, I'll put it this way. In real life, the right often pisses me off more because I live in bumfuck South Carolina and I see some of the stupid shit that happens. Online, the left pisses me off more because the left is a lot of good people who get drowned out by the stupidest and loudest voices, most of whom care only about identity politics. And I have no interest in that. If you want to help reduce inequality, the best way to do it is through a class-based lens, in my opinion. Focus on labor rights instead. Hey bro, I don't understand what you're saying, but don't give up. Appreciate it, X-Lot. Yeah, let's hit another set here. I will say, Cozy Sin, one thing I've appreciated about Macron, and I know he's not a very popular figure in France right now, is Macron has come to his senses and realized that if you guys want to get off of your, and when I say you guys, I mean the entirety of Europe, if Europe wants to get off of its addiction to Russian energy, you guys need to embrace nuclear. And the Germans have their heads shoved where the sun don't shine on this one, and thankfully the French, you guys have been, I will say, enlightened about this since the 1970s, and it's a good thing. Get tired of the dick measuring contest. Yeah. So I'm a registered Democrat here in South Carolina for practical reasons only. It's because in South Carolina, thanks to the 2020 election, where Jim Clyburn, old man Clyburn, supported Biden out early, as a political favorite of Clyburn's, South Carolina is now the first state for the Democratic primary. So it's my responsibility to go vote registered as a Democrat in the primaries so I can vote for the least crazy option. So for any of my audience who skews right and says, oh my God, you're a registered Democrat, why? That's why. It's for a practical reason. If I lived in Iowa, I'd be a registered Republican for the same reason. Vote for the least crazy option. All right, wide grip here. Come on. Come on. No. Better. Better. All right. 13. We'll do shrugs after this set. How many do you know languages? I speak English, and I'm trying to learn Spanish. My Spanish is not very good, but I'm trying. I'm working on it. Oh yeah, Big Red. We know your state's red. You don't have to worry about saying that. Your state might even be redder than South Carolina, and that's saying something. In South Carolina, at least at the federal level, we have 7 representatives to the House. 6 of them, because of gerrymandering, 6 of them go to the GOP, and 1 goes to the Democrats. And basically, none of the races are competitive because of that gerrymandering. Frankly, speaking of political wheeling and dealing, old man Clyburn should have been out decades ago. But thanks to gerrymandering, he's been in office for decades. There's an old saying that says power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Knees are a little bit sore from squats a couple days ago as well. I was hitting squats pretty deep. I think that's why I'm feeling more sore today, is because I focused on depth. I need to go back and look at the tape, but what I did was I took my normal guard level, I moved it down, it's I think 2 inches, which is, I want to say, about 50 millimeters. Made a huge difference. Be right back, getting McDonald's. Bro, you ain't gonna keep looking like, actually, you know what? Based on how much hit you're doing, you don't need my advice on diet. Clearly, you're doing just fine there. Here we go. Last set on rows. Here we go. Come on. Come on! That's it. I like it. Let's go 235. That'll be pretty good for shrugs. Yeah. I think the problem with French politics is that people, I think, are a bit too entitled with the welfare state. I've seen that there were riots in France recently because Macron dared to suggest that your pensions program was not sustainable if you kept the retirement age at 62, even though life expectancy for France continues to rise into the 80s. That's a math problem. The retirement age needs to be raised. Here in the United States, Social Security age is at 66. It'll be 67 in a couple of years. It should be somewhere more like 73. And that's the only reason I say that is because it's a math problem. If you want Social Security to exist long term, you're spending too much and taking in too little. Can you say something in Russian? I know Privyet, and because I've watched too many gamer videos, I know Bliat. And that's about it. Music comp, welcome on in. Also, I party pretty hard, make other unhealthy decisions. Goes to show life is about balance. Absolutely, moderation in all things, including moderation. That's very true. All right, we're gonna hit shrugs next. Welcome, Music Comp. Always love seeing you. You've been active recently. I love that. I love it when my chat's active. It makes it way more fun to talk to y'all. All right, shrugs. 2, 3. That's not bad. 12. We'll do a couple more on that. We'll do some lat raises too. Hey, Music Comp, thank you very much for the subscription. Appreciate that. Shoulder's still getting a little sore, so we're gonna pass on vert flies again. We'll do 4 sets of shrugs. We were doing lat raises last time. Might have to move to 40 on that, that's kind of cool. Whereby, what do we do? Yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna go to 40 on lat raises. It's crazy. Driving down to the city, doing nothing fun. Oh, here we go, lat raises. We call it riot, you call it a sporty protest. That is actually a very French characteristic. If you've seen there was an episode of the Grand Tour where they did this. It's the French disposition to protesting is world renowned. That's a very French characteristic. Let's start with bent over. Come on. This is tough.
I haven't done this at 40 before. Oh, that's hard. Woo! I should have eaten something before doing that. There we go. That's a little bit more like it. Bring you guys in a bit more. Two, three. Yeah, all right, that's 2 sets done. We got 2 more sets of lat raises, 2 more sets of shrugs. We're hitting it. This is good. I think I'm gonna move you guys up here permanently though for the rest of this. It's a better view. Mosquitoes will bite your scalp here. They don't give a shit. Hair, no hair, sweat, no sweat. They'll just come after you. Alright. Let's get a little bit more music going. Let's do a little Kiss, Hit Love Gun. Straight out of the 70s with that one. So y'all having a good time? Y'all having a good morning, or if you live in Europe, afternoon, hopefully. Let's do this. All right, that'll work. So the reason I don't face the camera when I'm doing these is because I want you guys to be able to see my lats. That's the goal of this. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Come on. I should probably take the weights out and go for 35s. That's a bit heavy. I like it. Ooh, Psycho Killer, you got it. Good pick. Speaking of French, David Byrne, the lead singer of Talking Heads, does like the middle of the song speaking French. It's kind of cool. Yeah, we'll hit Psycho Killer next after this one. How's your day so far? Not bad. We're weak today. I'm not particularly thrilled with how slow and how lightweight I'm having to go today. Carry on. 2 more sets of shrugs. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 2, 3. Hip. Regret. It always gets tough as you progress through a whole day. Something in my nose. All right, Cat Bro, you're in the queue. We need to hit Psycho Killer first. All right. Psycho Killer by Talking Heads. Honestly, Talking Heads is one of my favorite new wave groups anyway. You know it, you love it. It's one of their most favorites. One of their most famous songs. It's a banger. All right, so where are we at right now? We've done back. We've done 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So this will be our 11th set on back. Done 3 sets of shrugs. We've only done 2 sets of biceps, so we've been focusing on back too much. I'm working my shoulders, but I look like an old man. Well, if you'd like advice, you found the right place to ask. Between this and the Discord, we will give you the advice you're looking for. You can look like this. I don't take drugs or anything like that. This is perfectly natural. If you just train hard and eat right. Excuse me. Gas is allowed in the gym. Is that dubstep? No, it's rap. Run the Jewels is good shit though. I really enjoyed the song you had me listen to yesterday. It was called Goonies vs. E.T. or something like that. It's a damn good song. All right. Last 7 lat raises. We're gonna do these standing up. You guys can see my lats spreading by doing that. When I have nothing to say, my lips are sealed. Say something once. Why say? Oh. Well, can't agree with that there, Talking Heads. Say something once, why say it again? That's like literally my entire stream is saying shit again. Ha! Anyway. Two more, come on. Alright. Now we're going to do 50s for hammer curls. So we'll transition. We'll wait for that. Whoa! All over. Nice burp. Ha! Psycho Killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Better run, 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 run away. Good there. Do you want to do 4-hand curls with the barbell? Maybe you want to do that. I'm not quite sure what I actually want to do. If I want to do anything else with the barbell. Let's hit a set of hammer curls, we'll figure that out. Alright, so what was the next? Nobody speak DJ Shadow feature Run the Jewels. Alright. Nobody speak DJ Shadow Run the Jewels. Hang on 1 second, gotta let the ad roll. Ugh. I need to get ad blocker on my phone or something. I heard this song before. This is a good one. Yes, sir. This will work. Good. Hip hop can work for lifting. Well, here we go. I normally hit 15 right now, it's only 12. That's all right. We're a bit weak today. I think what I'm going to do is take the weight, the barbell off, throw 85 on there, and roll some 4-hand curls. I think that's the move. There's some of y'all are thinking when I'm doing that lucky bar. I know why some of you are here. I just can't talk about it too much. Yeah, alright, little killer Mike. Name drop right there. So we're gonna hit, I think. So let's see, where are we at? We at 3, 9. So we got 11 sets on back. We've got 4 sets on shrugs. We've got 3 sets on buys. So we're at 3, 7, 18 sets. We got 12 more to go. We are going really slow this morning, but that's because we're doing a lot of talking. And a lot of new people have shown up, which is a lot of fun. So I always love it when my new people are chatting. I always like to get to know people. If you guys are curious as to why my name changed to Bull Muscle, just ask if you want the full-on explainer on that. If you want to know about job, if you want to know about how I live my life, a philosophy, better still, if you really want to see the cool shit, ask me about this. Today is Financial Fitness Friday, so whenever we're done, we'll go inside and we'll talk about money. Itchy nurse, hey, welcome back. Ain't seen you in a hot minute. Welcome. Let me do a set and I'll answer it. 2, 3, 4. Oh, song's over. a little bit more music going. Let's go with. Let's do a little Led Zeppelin. Communication Breakdown. That's a good song. Da, 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 da. All right, here we go. I prefer individual. Come on. I'm starting to cheat. I feel. Form was starting to break there. That's not good. Okay. So why was my name changed? I changed my name from Beer Battered Aggie Syndrome to Beer Battered Ag to make it a little bit easier for people to rate and find me. That was a few months back. I've changed it from Beer Battered Ag to Bull Muscle because as an A&M fan, the university, and particularly the football program, does a lot of stuff that I'm not really in favor of. And while I will be an Aggie now forever till the day I die, I don't want people to define me as an Aggie as the first thing that they think of. For me, I want to be known as, hey, he's a strong, chill Twitch streamer who gives good advice and is happy to talk to anybody about anything. So, with that in mind, it felt like I was also preaching, I preach stoicism on this channel, which is focus on that which you can control and disregard a lot of what doesn't matter, what you can't affect. And A&M football is something I have no control over. So why was I preaching stoicism, but defining myself and branding myself based on an entity that I can't control, which is what Aggie football is? There was a philosophical disconnect there, and so I wanted to change my name. So that's why I didn't want to be Beer Battered Ag anymore. Why did I choose Bull Muscle? I chose Bull Muscle for actually quite a few reasons. One, it's shorter and therefore a little bit easier to remember and raid. Two, and I'm not going for views, but I'm not going for making money off of this channel. You'll notice there are basically no ads on my channel. I run the minimum amount that I can as an affiliate. Why do I do that? It's because the reason I do these Twitch streams, I would lift regardless of whether or not there was anybody watching, but I like lifting when people are watching because I like giving out advice. I like helping people. That's what makes me interested in continuing to do this with you. So with that in mind, Bull Muscle works because I like the phrase strong like bull. I use that to hype myself up sometimes to psych up before a major lift. I talk about finances. Today's Financial Fitness Friday, which we'll talk about up there. And I am generally an optimist in life. To be an optimist in the financial section is to be called bullish, which is another reason. So in general, I'm a bull when it comes to the stock market. Another one is, I don't believe in astrology much, but it's a nice little cherry on the sundae. I'm a Taurus, so if you believe in astrology, I'm a bull in that regard as well. The other reason is that it kind of fits my personality. I'm usually pretty chill, and I like to just sit back, graze, and relax in the sun. I'm a little bit of a beach bum when I'm not in the gym. But when I see red, get the fuck out of my way until I've either lifted or broken something. Dildo, are we allowed to sip respectfully? Absolutely. You can say whatever you like in this channel. The only rule is understand Twitch terms of service and don't say shit that would get me kicked off of Twitch. Do you invest in your own gold or silver as an insurance policy, sort of? No. And There are reasons for that. If I had to choose between precious metals, I would go with silver over gold because there's more industrial use. I personally believe if you're a prepper type, you'd be better off investing in arms manufacturers. You'd be better off with stock in gun companies because they will be extremely valuable if you think a doomsday scenario is ever going to come. However, as I've just stated, I'm a rather bullish person, so I think in general we're all going to be just fine. So I don't see a need to do that. Warren Buffett has said it the best. In general, the American system has produced more prosperity than pretty much any other system mankind has ever known. And as such, I'm very much a believer in it. So most of what I invest is in broad-based index funds like the S&P 500. So VTI is one of my favorites. Let's do a set of forehand curls. Ah, great song, Happy by the Rolling Stones. So there's one other reason I'm a fan of bull muscle. I know there are other less Twitch-friendly connotations for the word bull, and some of those may or may not apply to me. You can ask about those on my Discord server. I think what I have said there is the way Twitch wants me to say it, so hopefully I did that correctly. The reason I'm forgetting now that I like the name bull muscle. The other reason is because I got some really cool artwork. You can check out my PFP below. There's a lot more cool artwork coming in, and I have some great artists that did that for me. So that was the other reason. I wanted to give them some work, and shout out, I think it's Senex Mics. I think he is on Twitch, but I don't even stream often. But if you ever want art and you like my PFP, come talk to me. I'll get you linked up with the artists. Nicely put. The best album the Stones ever did, Exile on Main Street. Here we go. I like that. We'll do 3 sets of that. We'll do one more set of hammer curls. But yeah. I also do slightly more explicit stuff on my Discord. So if you're interested in that, come check out my Discord. Put the link here in chat or DM me and I can get you there. So that's something I try not to advertise too much, but it is something I dabble in. Cecilia Roses, thank you very much for the follow. I'm sorry I didn't see that earlier. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Please, by all means, stick around and come chat. And Severus, thanks for a couple of biddies. Yeah, strong like bull. Come on. Move up to 40 pounds here. Hey, Crybaby Crook, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. That's better. Come on. 2 more. Nice. sir. There will be more rebranding efforts coming in the future. I'm just waiting on my artists to get me more content. So be aware of that. By the way, if we have 30 viewers in chat, I will do handstand push-ups after the lift. So keep an eye on that viewer count, y'all. And if it hits 30, say something. Don't lie. Let's go a little ZZ Top, one of my favorite bands in the whole world. Got me under pressure. All right, so let's see, we've done 6 sets of buys, 4 sets of shrugs, or 4 sets of traps, and 11 sets of back. So yeah, we still got a ways to go. But it's 35, we get the Aggie War. It's the Aggie War hymn. Come on now, I ain't no cry. Oh, damn. If you're trolling me, it's working. Let's say 40 today. 40 and I'll do the war hymn. Bum, 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 bum. I think I can play the war hymn without getting DMCA. I'm pretty sure it's public domain. Okay, I'll also look into that before I do it. 3, 4, 2. Ah, terrible. That was awful form on the end there. That was just terrible. I'm not counting that last rep. It was garbage. It's all good. Let's say 40. 40 and I'll sing the war hymn. That seems like fair. Assuming it's public domain, which it should be. All right, let's hit some concentration drills. I feel like I'm definitely a little sore, a little bit low on effort or energy today. So what haven't I done recently? Ooh, I haven't done bent over flies. I should do those. Yeah, let's do those. Let's do them with 20. With back flies, you're not really supposed to do them with a lot of weight anyway. So we'll do that. That'll work my delts. And I'm going to do that. All right, so back flies, for those of you who don't know, you're bent over at the hips, keep your legs only very slightly bent. All right, earlier we were doing lat raises, which is this. Now we're going to do back flies, which is that. This is working your delts as opposed to your lats. Bum, bum. Gotta love ZZ Top. Here we are, come on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, back is my lats I feel are my weak point, so I'm working on them. Here we go. Come on. Oh, that's tough. All right, yeah, I like that. Ooh, we're dizzy. We're dizzy. We're dizzy. Take a minute. Let's get a little Rocket by Def Leppard going. We got 28 right now. I bet we can hit 40. Let me know. Keep an eye on that viewer count, y'all. If we hit 30 handstand push-ups, if we hit 40, I'll sing the war hymn. You can do that against an incline bench to avoid lower back activation. I've never known whether or not that's a legit thing. All right, give it a shot. Well, we need another set of 4 and then I'll do it with a incline back. Also, thanks for the first time chat today, Ruler X. Welcome in. Appreciate it. Now, I love when you guys form check me. Helps keep me honest. If you're cheating on form, you're only cheating yourself. So I really appreciate it when y'all do that. So there's a stain on my shorts from the rust on this bar. It's just, these are so dirty. I need to bleach the shit out of these. Stream magic. Crazy sin. That's all I got. Yeah, some vibes. Like it. Yeah. Usually when I start breaking form fairly bad, that's when I'm going to put the weight down. Either go down weight or just accept I'm going to do fewer reps. It sucks. You have to humble yourself. Weekdays happen though. It's good. Should have got more sleep last night. And to be fair, 3 days running fairly large calorie deficits, it should make sense that I'm a little bit more tired today. I'm in the final month of a cut cycle, so it makes sense. Magnetic. Guitar, drums. Get the guys in here. I want to do the war hymn. Let's see if we can hit 40. And again, 30, y'all get handstand push-ups. So incline bench, good call. Let's do that. Let's see here. That's a bit high. Let's go a bit lower. Nah, that's not gonna work. That's a bit too low. Yeah, let's go with this one. It's not ideal. Puts my back at a slightly higher angle, but my arms are too long to do it on the next lowest step, notch there. Rocket, baby. Come on. Slightly further back, so we can actually see what I'm doing. I can put this back on too. Actually, before I do, yeah, this is why I like the morning workouts more than the evening workouts. It's only 76 in here, as opposed to the evenings where it's usually closer to, 85, 90 in here. That's only going to get worse as July and August come. It'll be 97, 98 for a large chunk of the next 2 months of working out. That's partially why I'm not doing a bulk cycle in the summer. It's just not feasible to be doing your absolute max in the hottest weather. You're better off doing it in colder weather because you'll have more energy. 76 isn't bad, but remember it's still in the morning here, so it's going to get quite a bit hotter. I think the high today is supposed to top out at 89, which is still pretty good. The problem is here, the humidity is going to be intense. It's usually the highs here will only usually get into the low 90s, which is way better than where I used to live in Texas. The humidity is very high here, mostly East Texas, frankly. All right. Let's do this. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's much better. Come on. One more. Oh. Yes, sir. That's tough. I like it though. All right. We're gonna do one set of single arm rows. That'll get us to 14 sets on back. We've done, let's see, 3, 6, 8 sets of buys and 4 sets of strokes. That's 8, 12, 14. That'll give us 26. So we have some incline curls to do, I think, next. Cool. Yeah. We go for only 30 counts this time, kind of push it a little bit more on reps. So I'm definitely a bit tired. Again, I'm pretty sure that's just a function of the cut cycle. Your weights will never be quite as high on a cut, especially once you get to a certain point of experience where you're not getting noob gains anymore, just because you're starving your body a little bit. You know, you're going to be running in caloric deficit. It makes it harder to recover. All right, perfect. Yes, we'll do one more set of single arm rows, 2 sets of incline curl, 1 set of concentration curl, and then 1 set of burnout curl. Yeah, it's 76, but it's getting warmer in here and fast. It says it's 72 out right now, and that makes about sense. I think the low was in the mid-60s this morning. And it makes sense, again, even though for a change there's no electric car heating up my garage, which is where I'm lifting right now, I put out lots of heat because I have a fair amount of muscle on my frame. So as a result of that, naturally, the garage is just gonna get warm. It just makes hitting your maxes a lot harder in the summer. There's just not much I can do about it. 2, 1, 2, 3, yep. Six. 10. 12. 13. 15 will do. All right. Hey, Kanaka, welcome. Been following for 7 months. I appreciate that. How much am I doing right now? 30 pounds on the dumbbells. It's only 13 kilograms. We're doing these for reps. And I lust, and more, and I want, and I need, and I lust, and in love. So right now I don't believe we hit 30 people, so that's my lateral raise. I do lat raises. I was doing lat raises with 18 kilograms earlier. Usually I'll go between 30 and 40 pounds, which is 15 kilograms or so for my lat raises. Again, we did our heaviest bicep stuff already with pull-ups and chins. So this is more for reps for volume. We got 3 more sets of that, 1 set of single arm raises. So we're still rolling. There we go. And I want, and I need, and I lust, and am up. Take me, make me your animal. Show me, show me. Oh, come on. Come on, 13. Oh, yes, sir. Oh, fuck off, YouTube. Fuck you. Fuck you. Giving me goddamn Pride ad with ABBA. I have nothing against Pride, but ABBA fucking sucks. I hate that. That ad pisses me off so much. This is actually a problem I have with Pride. I think Pride reduces LGBT people to caricatures and stereotypes too much. This bothers me because the original goal of the gay rights movement was to be treated like equals and be tolerated, to not be discriminated against. Now it seems like the movement is to get away with as much outlandish, flamboyant shit as one can. And there's not anything wrong with that per se, but people of all stripes should be celebrated, but I feel like people, right, like gay people, bi people, lesbian people, trans people are people first, and their sexuality, 100. I hate that commercial so much, because again, I hate that one because it's ABBA, and I really just don't like ABBA in general, but it bothers me because I have plenty of friends of all different sorts of spectrum in terms of sexuality and gender, and I want to treat them as people first. I don't care what their sexuality is. The initial outburst is funny. I have a visceral hatred of ABBA. ABBA is the surstrumming of music. It's disgusting, it's Swedish, it should have never happened, and it's an abomination. Streaming Dancing Queen really loud. I've been there and done that, man. That's been a joke on some of the other Discords I've been in for the longest time. Funny enough. I cannot, again, that has nothing to do with the LGBT community. I just really don't like ABBA. But actually that is a problem I have with a lot of the Pride movement. You should, first off, Pride is a sin, but that's not really where I'm going with this. Where I'm really going with this is, you should treat LGBT people as people first for what their values, what their beliefs are, and what they bring to the table as people. And care about, again, only care about their sexuality if you're attracted to them. Just, that one, so someone who's, it took me a long time to come to terms with my sexuality, actually, and I've only been partially out of the closet for a few months. By the way, the answer is bi, if you were wondering. I don't want people, like, there's a reason you don't see any rainbow shit on my stream. Not because there's anything wrong with it, but because I want people to come and watch me for who I am, not for who I'm attracted to. So that is a major problem I have with the current Pride movement. But at the same point, a lot of good men and women and non-binary folk had to suffer in previous years to get rights to where they are today. You know, people like Harvey Milk are absolute heroes. So I have a lot of respect for a lot of the forefathers of the Pride movement. So that's just my perspective. I hate Alice so much. So I'm hearing is there's a chance. I mean, that's sort of one thing I want to tell people. Like, a lot of people have asked me is like, are you single? And the answer is yes. But what I'm looking for in a partner has, like what you got going below the belt is far less relevant to me than what you bring to the table up here. And what you bring to the table in terms of what you like to do. It's a compatibility thing, right? Lifting weights, as you guys see, this is a big part of my life. So if you're not someone who enjoys being active and ideally lifting, that's going to be a compatibility issue. So, all right. First things to have. Yeah. I mean, not to be too explicit, but dick can be just as fun as pussy. It really just depends on what you like. And there's nothing wrong. Well, there's a lot I want to say about this, but it's not, I feel like sometimes it's not in my place, because one of the things I can get away with where I'm at is, right, for the most part, people just assume I'm straight, and unless the need presents itself, I don't go and correct them. So, you know, for someone who's trans, for instance, that's not an option they can really have as much, unless they're really good at presenting a different way to fool most people. Or not fool, that's not the right word, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're trans, it's a little bit harder to hide that, I guess is what I'm saying. Because it's a bit harder to hide gender than it is to hide sexuality. With sexuality, you can hang out with people of the opposite sex and people just assume you're dating them, even if you're just hanging out as friends. With gender, it's different. Yeah, fly under the radar. Maybe that's the term I'm looking for. Yeah, if you're transgender, I think it's probably harder on average to fly under the radar than if you're LGBT. If you're LGB, rather. I think that's probably a fair way to put it. But yeah, I got no problem with transgender people. Y'all cool. Y'all have had a difficult road to hoe the last few years, but I don't know, man. Frankly, of all the shit going on in the world right now, is this really the top priority we need to care about? No. Just accept people for who they are, care about what values they have and what they bring to the table, and worry about who they like or what gender they want to be later. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I also say that living here in the Deep South, in a particularly, Christian and one might say Southern Baptist part of the country, I'm Catholic for what it's worth. Yeah, reconciling my sexuality and my religion is not easy, but it's something I'm working through. All right. So next up we got concentration curls, and then we have the burnout set. Double fist bump. Boom, boom. It's not just Flex Friday, it's Financial Fitness Friday, which we will be covering after these 2 sets. How is it already almost 11? I've been going so slow. Work, alert, meeting time. Go kill it. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, we got 2 sets left. I've been going way too slow this morning, but you know, it is what it is. 2, 3, nope. I might just do 2 sets of concentration curls instead of a burnout set. I'm feeling pretty gassed. 9, 10, 11. That's a fail on the 12th. Yeah, I think we're just going to do a second set of concentration curls. I'm just gassed. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That being said, on Sunday, I'm going to do my old school RuneScape stream on my rest day. And apparently there's a Pride event they're doing. And I did that, I actually went and did that last night just because it sounded like a ton of fun and I didn't want to miss it. And if a bunch of people are playing with me, we can go do that event together. I'll walk around and just hang out with you while y'all are doing it. Because it's really cool. I'm not a huge fan of rainbow washing in general, but like, I thought the way Jagex did it on old school RuneScape was really neat. They give you a nice little mini quest, and they give you a there was like a big pride march that went around the free-to-play areas of the game, and everyone could participate. And I just thought it was really cool. You hear so much different conversations in a workout stream. Yeah, I wish they had put a straight option in that you could select for the merch they gave you. Just because I feel like if you're straight, you should still be able to participate in Pride just because you like hanging out with your gay homies and you accept them for who they are. I guess that's probably what the Pride rainbow is at this point. Because I feel like, is there a different flag for gay in particular? Because like, I don't know. That's actually a good question. Like if you're straight, but you support your LGBT friends, are you allowed to wear like rainbow for Pride? Like how does that work? Again, living where I live, I don't really participate in a lot of that stuff. Ain't really my scene. All right, yeah, we got one more set to do. The gay one is the rainbow flag. So that's what I thought. I've heard both. The rainbow flag can mean just like pride in general for any like non-straight orientation, or it can specifically mean gay. What I like about the rainbow flag is the original meaning of the rainbow flag when it was created in the 60s was to represent all colors, all sexualities, basically everything. So I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's kind of neat. It is, but it's also supposed to be inclusive. I don't know. I wonder how other LGBT. I need to ask them. I wonder how other LGBT people feel about like a straight pride flag. Because like, I feel like you should be. There's nothing wrong with being straight, but like, I don't know. You get what I mean? I feel like you should, if we're going to fully celebrate the true spectrum of the human experience, everybody should get something like that. We shouldn't exclude our straight friends. I don't know. That's a thinker. All right, let me do one more set. We're going to go in. I don't think we hit 30 today, so no handstand push-ups until we do. 9, 10, 11, 12, frankly, I just don't care that much about these social issues. It's just not something that's near and dear to my heart. I'm boring. I like economics instead. God, my right arm in particular is shot. That's unusual. Usually it's my left arm that gives out. I'm cooked. Let me write this in. 2 by, it's 11. 2 by 11 and 30. Let's roll. Now the rainbow flag also has a triangle with the trans community colors and the anti-racist flag colors. I don't like that flag. That flag bothers me. And I've heard what the phrase is. It's called intersectional whatever. And that, I don't like that because I don't think the problems that black people have faced and the problems that gay people have faced are the same, and I think you'd be better off keeping the original rainbow flag, and for, you know, black people, you have what is it, black, red, and green flag with the fist. If you want to be proud of being black, I think you'd be better off flying that flag instead. But to each their own. Also, from an aesthetic perspective, the one with the triangles and the brown and black colors and the trans colors, there's too many colors. It's just kind of, it's ugly. It's like an eyesore, just aesthetically, it's not very good. Gay pride came out of it. Yeah. Well, no, like there were some riots in the 60s up in like New York City and Greenwich Village that started the whole pride movement. And I think that's cool. Like, 01 and hi, sweetie. Welcome on in. Rue, I haven't seen you in a hot minute. It's always good to see you. So let's head on in. Yeah, the Stonewall riots, that's what it was. I think it was, what, 1969, something like that? 1970? Because you had that was sort of the dawn of the movement. Then you had, in San Francisco, across the country, you had Harvey Milk, who was sort of a pioneer for the LGBT community, the first openly gay mayor of San Francisco who got shot. He and one of his, I think, was it one of his deputies? But yeah, I'm not super into social issues, but guys like that, a lot of respect for that. You had to be really brave to come out as openly in the closet in the 60s and the 70s. It wasn't the same. Milk's killer got off on the Twinkie defense. Yeah, see, down south we have a solution to that, and I definitely can't say what that solution is on Twitch. But no. Yeah, Milk's killer should have been, I'm not sure I believe in that. I have mixed feelings on the death penalty, but if we were gonna go with the death penalty, Milk's killer should have absolutely gotten it. The Twinkie defense is bullshit, and it's further proof of something that I've said as an engineer for a long time. Lawyers do more harm than good. Okay, not all lawyers, but you'll have to excuse me. As an engineer, lawyers are our natural, they're our natural enemy. Oh, shit. No. Oh, good. Stop playing music. I do not need to get DMCA'd. Hopefully that didn't DMCA me. Happy to stay in the closet and be like Liberace. Everybody knows you don't like a thing about it. Or like Little Richard, I think was like that. Like, come on, Little Richard was pretty, I don't want to say stereotypically, but like a very effeminate dude. Amazing musician, by the way. A pioneer of the genre of rock and roll and a true hero. But, it's actually funny. There's a story, and my roommate told me this, and she's a lot more into the pride and LGBT stuff. So if you like that, check out my roommate. I'll give her a shout out. She's awesome. But she was telling me that Little Richard, back in the 50s, he would actually get invited to clubs that most black people wouldn't get allowed in because it was the 50s. Racism was pretty prevalent everywhere. And the reason why is because
In those days, there was a stereotype of the old term was miscegenation, I think. I might be butchering the pronunciation of that, but basically interracial hooking up. And it was kind of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge thing that everybody knew you didn't have to worry about that with Little Richard that you did with other black artists. So a lot of times in those days, the segregated, the whites-only clubs would allow guys like Little Richard in because they knew he was gay and he wouldn't go for the white women. Which is fucked up, but it's kind of funny. That's how it works out. I think the black... Okay, first off, Contagious Yeti, welcome on in. Always love new first-time chats. I think the black and brown editions were more to attribute the contributions POC queer people have made to the community than solely being black pride. But if the original rainbow flag is supposed to represent all colors, why was that necessary? Everyone knows we don't make a thing about it. Yeah, I can respect that approach. And for my family, like, I don't advertise it. It's just not something I need to do. But yeah, let me set up. God, I'm really exhausted. This hit me hard. That workout was difficult. Oh no, I didn't do. We didn't hit 30 people, so I don't owe y'all. I don't owe y'all handstand push-ups. But I do owe y'all. Actually, let's go do that. I do owe y'all raw egg white chugs. So let's hit that up, which probably need to do anyway, because I'm pretty lightheaded. I had caffeine and I was stupid and I didn't eat anything to go with it. And I think that's what made me partially kind of lightheaded at the end of the workout. Real Ed Ha, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate that. I think we're getting up towards 1,380 now, which is good. There we go. Gilbert Baker designed the gay pride flag in 1978. Really? That recently? I thought the original pride flag came out of the Stonewall riots in the 60s. I thought I'm actually rather surprised by that. It was originally a pink triangle. Right, because of what happened in the Holocaust, because the Nazis persecuted gays. And I would presume lesbians and trans people, although I have no idea the statistics on that. But yeah. Let's check my beans while I'm at it. Ooh, those looking good. Perfect. Okay. Let's hit creatine. No, egg whites first. Right. Stonewall 68 or 69. I didn't realize that. That's actually really neat. All you in here, tell your friends the next stream we get to hear that 40 level. Want to hear him live? Tell your friends. You know, it might well still happen. You never know. Let's get those egg whites rolling first. Shake. I definitely feel like my abs are looking a little bit better the last few days because I've really been hitting the calorie deficits pretty good. Now I weighed in this morning and it settles at 14.3% body fat. I think that's a little bit of an estimate on the high side. So I think the scale's just kind of being fucky. I would guess that based on the amount of fat you can, like the fact that I have visible abs would say to me that I'm probably no more I'd say I'm probably no more than about 13% right now. But that's just a guess. I mean, ultimately it doesn't matter that much. I'm pretty happy with the way I look aesthetically. I just like to increase my numbers. Like I'd like to be a little bit stronger. Only place I'd like to get my aesthetics a little bit better on are my lats. Rainbow is over the rainbow. We used to ask someone if they were a friend of Dorothy instead of asking if they're gay. That's a really good way. Wow, that's actually... Bro, can I use that? Like, because down here in the deep south, that might still come in handy. That's a great idea. Wow. Okay, that's an awesome comment. That's a really great way of putting it. All right, let me knock down these egg whites. By the way, I'm really glad you're back, Rue. I missed you. That's a freaking great idea. That's a really good way to put it. Here's another interesting one. If you go on a cruise, they have Friends of Dorothy meetings. I don't like cruises. They are horrendous for the environment. Cruise ships run on heavy fuel oil, like bunker oil. That stuff is incredibly bad in terms of the amount of toxins, the amount of pollutants that it spews into the ocean biome, and directly affects our marine life. So I'm not a big fan, personally, of cruises. But if that's your thing, go for it. Frankly, much better way for cruise ships to operate would be if they had small nuclear reactors on board. But, you know, people all think, nuclear bad, wah! Because they're fucking ignorant, frankly. The funniest part is that if, God forbid, a ship sank and a nuclear reactor went down to the bottom of the ocean, it would pretty much be unaffected because water is a really, really, really good neutron moderator. So all of that water and all of that pressure would pretty much negate the nuclear chain reaction, and the radiation wouldn't really be all that effective. Nuclear energy is clean energy, and if you disagree, you're wrong. It's not perfectly clean energy. I'm a nuclear engineer, so I have a little bit of information on this one. Nuclear energy is the best option, is what I would call it. For baseload power, nuclear is your best choice. It's not perfect, but no energy source is perfect. Every energy source has a problem. Wind has an intermittency problem. Hydro has a problem with allowing fish to respawn upstream, like things like salmon, for instance. Solar has a problem with the materials used to make panels, and the panels don't last forever. They last maybe 15, 20 years before they start to degrade. Fossil fuels, enough said, they cause lung disease worldwide, global warming, cancer, and God only knows how much damage on environmental extraction of those. For instance, the state of Oklahoma has seen more earthquakes in the last 20 years than it has seen in, I think, the previous 100 years before that because of the fracking industry, just as one example. Coal is the worst of them all. In the developed world, we should not be using coal for anything other than production of steel in 2023. The fact that we still use coal for electricity generation blows my mind because an entire trainload of coal produces as much thermal energy to make electricity as a piece of uranium that would fit in your hand. That is how energy dense nuclear fission is. Nuclear fission has nothing on fusion, but you, me, and everybody else watching this will probably be dead before we adopt mass fusion. We should still continue to research it because if we ever want to become an interplanetary species, we need to adopt nuclear fusion. It's sort of like an unlock first, like in a video game. You have to unlock nuclear fission before you can get the interplanetary species skill tree. And I have reasons for why I think that's the case, but the biggest one is that uranium is a lot less common than hydrogen. So if you can successfully crack cold fusion right on any other planet you hope to inhabit, you're going to find a whole lot more hydrogen than you're going to find uranium. That's just a layman's perspective in a sense. We just need coal-powered starships. That's pretty funny. I know you're shitposting there, but that wouldn't work on account of, the way coal creates heat is by combustion. Combustion requires oxygen and a shit ton of it. Guess what isn't in space? And a funny fact, actually, this is really cool. This will tell you all where I work too, and I think this is something I can be proud of. Speaking of pride of things, where I work in the 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s, and onward actually, even to this day, we are responsible for producing the nuclear batteries that have been placed into the objects mankind has sent the furthest away from Earth. That's right, Voyager 1, Voyager 2, Cassini, New Horizons, all of those batteries, right? How are those space probes operable? They're operable based on nuclear fission decay to keep them propelled. So it's basically a nuclear battery that's going on in those spacecraft. And those batteries were produced where I work. So that's a pretty neat little fact, I think. Yeah, without the government is lying to us, space is full of oxygen. Oh boy. It's funny. I actually worked as a subcontractor to NASA at an internship when I was in college. Something I made actually did go up to the International Space Station, which is kind of a neat little fact. That's a really good one for Two Truths and a Lie. I need to remember that one. Yep, that's the other cool thing. With the U.S. Navy is the absolute proof that nuclear-powered ships are a really great idea. But fuck yeah, give me some nuclear-powered cruise ships. And like that, we have hit 30 people. And thank you very much for the follow, Bianca Sue. So y'all have earned handstand push-ups. Let's go do them. Don't. That is the one conspiracy that really pisses me off, because I've met people who worked on the Apollo missions. I've been to mission control where all of that happened in Johnson Space Center in Houston. You can go visit it yourself. I love the fact that, like, of all the conspiracies that people believe in, the one that we didn't really land on the moon is the dumbest one of them all. If the world were flat, cats would be pushing stuff off the edge. Big fucking facts. You imagine if the world was flat and, like, the edge of the world was in Africa somewhere, you'd have lions pushing shit off the edge. It'd be hilarious. The fact the U.S. Navy can train 18-year-olds to safely operate nuclear reactors, well, it's funny. We actually learned a little bit of trial by fire here, and this is one of the rare U.S. nuclear accidents that did occur. Now, it killed 3 people, but this was not a civilian nuclear power generation accident. In the first few days of 1961, there was a remote Army reactor called SL-1 out in the Idaho desert. It was a prototype reactor designed to see if... So in the 50s, right, the idea behind the U.S. Army was dominated by what we would call today Red Scare thinking. The idea that the Soviets would come across and try to invade the United States through Alaska. So the U.S. Army and Air Force built a ton of military bases in Alaska in the 50s. Unfortunately, diesel, which is predominantly at the time was the generators that provided power to U.S. Air Force and Army bases, diesel has a tendency to freeze in really low temperatures, which, Alaska has really low temperatures. So as a result, the Army started looking into, hey, what if we could put smaller nuclear reactors on Air Force and Army bases to power the place? So they partnered with a lot of the atomic scientists at the time, and out in the Idaho desert, they created a reactor called SL-1. SL-1 was a boiling water reactor prototype that, and nobody actually knows the story on what exactly went wrong, but most people agree that one of the 3 workers out there was disgruntled and either attempted to commit suicide or attempted to kill his coworkers by intentionally basically blowing up the reactor by taking all the control rods out, which there are now passive systems to prevent that from happening on every reactor. And in fact, SL-1 is where we started moving towards pressurized instead of boiling water reactors for the most part. And there's some good reasons for that. In fact, funny enough, Chernobyl, the worst nuclear accident that the Soviets did, because the Soviets, frankly, Chernobyl is proof that communism is a terrible system, but we'll go to there later. Let me do some handstand push-ups. No, it wasn't suicide by radiation. It was suicide by impalement. The dude fucking stood on the top of the containment vessel, all right? When he pulled the control rods out, the reactor had an excursion which surged. The control rods, right, the rods went through his body and impaled him on the ceiling. Some pretty gnarly stuff. Go check out the SL-1 disaster. But as a result of that, first off, it's a tragedy, but it's a good thing that it happened as early as it did, because it definitely changed the U.S. attitude towards safety in its military-related reactors. Now, civilian, we've always been a lot more safety-minded than other countries. There's a reason the U.S. doesn't have any civilian nuclear accidents that have killed anybody. 3 Mile Island's the worst one we ever had, and it killed a grand total of zippity-doo-dah people. The guy got impaled in the ceiling. Yup, go check it out. It's freaking wild. Look at the symbol for Uranus. It looks like the Enterprise from Star Trek. Talk about boldly going where no man has gone before. That's funny. All right, so we're talking about nuclear accidents, and now we're going to transition into doing handstand push-ups, because I saw we hit 30 people on stream, and we're going to go ahead and do that. One of the guys who survived lost his pulse in the ambulance. The doctor was like, yeah, no, get the fuck out of this ambulance. Yeah. So it's like the Demon Core. When the guy messed up, flipped the Demon Core a little bit too much, the amount of radiation he received instantly made him a dead man walking. And that's the same thing. And there is no more horrendous way to die than acute radiation sickness. ARS is fucking awful. Seriously, I'd rather like drown or like be killed. I'd rather be gored to death by a bull or something. But ARS is the reason ARS is so bad is that it attacks basically all of your organs. So you get multiple organ failure at once, and when you get multiple organ failure at once, it also means your blood vessels start to rupture, which means you can't be administered painkillers. Seriously. Oh yeah, the wedding rings were, belts, watches, anything else they were wearing that had any metal on it became completely irradiated, and the 3 operators had to be buried in lead-lined caskets. It's a crazy story. Yeah. I assume, Dildo, if you're looking at it, I assume you're reading like the Wikipedia article or something. Some wild shit, man. The 50s were a crazy time in terms of health and safety standards. All right, let's do this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, hope. So if you like what I do and you like the content here, consider checking out the Discord or giving me a follow. Oh. There we go. Ooh, we dizzy. I've read it before. Okay, cool. Well then, yeah, Not too many people know about the SL line. Don't they have to salvage metals from the ocean because of radiation? No, I don't think so. Some civilian radiation incidents on Wikipedia are nuts. Yeah, it's wild too. Handstand push-ups are tough. It's not really a strength question. I've got the strength to do it. It's the balance that's hard. Which is why I do it against the wall. Every so often I have to use the wall with my heels as a guide. But yeah, in general, if you care about global warming, nuclear is our best answer at the moment. Wind and solar should be embraced because they are very good for peak power, and as such can be very good for replacing gas. But for baseload power, you're better off with nuclear. I will criticize the state of California on this. I don't try to go on my California rant every stream, but it seems to be what happens. California closing Diablo Canyon nuclear is, to put it mildly, unbelievably stupid. They shouldn't be doing that until they've gotten rid of all of their gas plants in the state, especially because California, due to its geography and topography, has a really bad smog problem. Just ask any Los Angeles resident about this and they will tell you the same. Interesting. Scrapping or other steel artifacts is era. It's often used for modern particle detectors because more modern steel is contaminated with traces of nuclear fallout. Dude, that's cool. Here's a really crazy thought, right? Broken arrows is a term for nuclear bombs that were either tested or otherwise lost. There are a couple dozen broken arrows that the United States has had. We don't know where those bombs are. They could go off at any time and kill any amount of people. Here's the scarier part, though. If you thought that's bad, the amount of broken arrows the Soviet Union had, we actually don't know. We know it's more than about 100. We don't know how many more than 100. And the Soviet Union had a whole lot more missiles at their peak than the US ever did. The Soviet Union was also a lot worse about keeping records than the US was. So, sleep well at night. nothing makes me more nothing is more enjoyable to me than crapping on the USSR because as a nuclear engineer, the amount of, for lack of a better term, dumb fuckery that occurred at Chernobyl is proof that the communist system of doing things is bad. Really, really bad. Any idea what my resting heart rate is? I haven't measured it in quite some time. I think it's somewhere in the mid to upper 40s, like 47, 48. Oh, I need to do my abs, don't I? I should have been drinking this. It's gonna make it less fun. I do need to do them though, so we'll get that done. I need to get a shirt or a towel for that. Stand by, y'all. I gotta get one of those. Perfect. Da-da-da-da. Need to figure out how to decontaminate newer steel. Yeah, here's a really wild fact for you. You actually get multiple times more radiation living next to a coal plant than you do from a steel plant because there are trace amounts of radioactive material, including uranium, in coal. And when you burn it, you expose that shit to the environment, no matter how much you filter it. This is actually kind of my wheelhouse. I'm actually going up to a training in Boston in a couple of weeks. More like about a month and a half to learn more about nuclear grade filtration. It's going to be at Harvard, and I'm really excited for that. I've never been to Boston, so it should be fun. Hopefully, the sky isn't on fire anymore by the time I get up there. But yeah, as far as if you're worried about like radiation and, you know, obviously the carcinogenic effects thereof, the first thing you need to do the one that makes me wild, that it drives me the craziest, is the anti-nuclear protester who smokes a cigarette. And it's like, buddy, you're worried about the possible carcinogenic effects of nuclear energy, which is, one, really stupid, but two, you're smoking a cigarette, which is extremely carcinogenic. It's almost guaranteed to give you cancer if you live long enough. And you're going to talk to me about, oh, nuclear is going to give us cancer. It's like, you don't care. If you cared that much, you'd stop fucking smoking. Secondhand smoke gives people cancer too. Ridiculous. Nuclear power started in 1951, over 70 years again. Actually, the first working nuclear reactor would be the Chicago Pile 1, which came in 1938. But commercially available nuclear power, yes, it was the early 50s. In fact, it was so sad that it was COVID pandemic instead of zombies. The pandemic was weird. I think we overreacted. Although it's very easy to say that in hindsight because we've gotten progressively more mild strains of COVID. The strains of COVID that you could possibly get infected with are still more severe than a cold, but they're not nearly as bad as the original strains of COVID that had come out in the early months of 2020. I think it was the beta strain. Like you could see the intensity of each strain. Beta was stronger than Delta. Delta was stronger than Omicron. Those were the three biggest waves here in the U.S. So the wild one to me is just how much the Chinese government covered up on that. We have no idea where it came from, and we never will, conclusively, because the Chinese government won't ever tell us. But what's wild to me is that the Chinese government still says to this day the amount of deaths they had in the pandemic was like 6,000. For a country of 1.4 billion people. Like, that's so obviously a fake statistic. Don't sit here and tell me that's not realistic. That's just silly. Just come on, China. Own up to it. Be a little bit more realistic than that. You didn't have just 6,000 fatalities. That's just dumb. That's especially with all the lockdowns y'all had. That's just patently stupid. 2, 3, hook.
So we're gonna do abs. Today's the 9th, so it's an odd day. So we do reps. 6, 7, 8, 9. Hey, first time chat. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, long COVID. Although I would bet the cases of long COVID, if you got it in 2020, are probably more severe if you get long COVID today in 2023. That's just speculation, though. So I could be wrong. I think... Oh, come on. 32. Oh, this is so much harder after drinking protein. Ah! 40. 48. 52. Come on. Oh, that hurts. Leo, you're correct. Also, thank you for the first time chat. Welcome in. COVID was no joke. I ended up in the hospital on oxygen. They're thinking the labs was the source. I think. See, I've heard mixed reports from equally reliable sources. I truly think we don't know, and we're never gonna know. I'd love to know, but that requires transparency from the Chinese government. And you might as well be wishing on unicorn farts if you're looking for that. COVID should have been another World War II moment where we banded together to fight it. Honestly, this is one where I really question Donald Trump's acumen as a businessman. If Donald Trump had started selling MAGA masks to, more conservative-minded individuals, first off, he would have made a shit ton of money. Second off, I think... See, I'm not convinced masks did a ton to help. I think they probably were better than doing nothing. But at the same time, with a lot of the stuff, you'd need N95s. As an introvert, I was so happy during lockdown. I hated lockdown because at the time I didn't have a home gym. And for me, this is the other problem I had with the lockdowns. I will never ever support another lockdown again. And the reason for that is because I need weightlifting. It is integral to my mental health. I need stuff like that. And I replaced it with cardio to the extent that I could. I would go out and run, and yes, back then I would run without a mask. I would just stay the fuck away from people. I would go out and run on the paths that nobody used. They do a lot because COVID travels on water. Yeah, but see, N95s might do a lot, but like just the basic... Remember, in the early days of the pandemic, we were like making homemade masks out of, fucking bolts of cloth because that was what we had access to. You couldn't find masks, like medical grade masks. Right, now that I have a home gym, I wouldn't be affected by it, but I have lots of people I know that would be affected by that. And I do think it's a pros and cons. I think the amount of deaths caused by mental health downgrades as a result of the lockdowns is not well understood. I think we should take that into account when making future decisions like that. I've been wearing FFP3 masks to this day and haven't caught COVID as far as I've noticed. I got COVID, even though I was wearing a mask, I got COVID in, that would have been December of 2021, which I believe was the Omicron wave. I had no symptoms. I was actually with my family at the time for Christmas, and my family did, which is interesting. I was fully vaccinated because I had to be. It was a requirement for my job. I'm a nuclear worker. I'm also pretty pro-vaccine in general, just because of how I was raised. I was raised in a military family, so we didn't get a choice with vaccines. It was just something you were expected to do.
if you wanted to live on the base. And sometimes there wasn't another option, so we got vaccinated. It's just what we had to do. With regards to the COVID, with regards to how it affected my family, my younger brother was unvaccinated at the time, got it, had mild symptoms, and it passed within 2 or 3 days. He was just like sleepy and had a sore throat. It was like a cold. This is a Google angle. Not okay. No, I'm not going to give it to you anymore. You point it out like that. Make me feel embarrassed. My mom got it, she's immunocompromised. She was fully vaccinated. It affected her about the same as my younger brother. Hit my older brother the hardest, who was vaccinated but not boosted at the time, because that was right as the boosters were rolling out. And it's okay, Capra, I'm just messing with you. I don't care about y'all's opinions of the way I look that much. Don't worry. I'm just fucking with y'all. It hit him the hardest, and it's funny actually, my older brother, dude, he has some wild stories to tell. I should bring him on at some point, because he actually lived in Wuhan, China, and he's a physics guy, so he wasn't part of the virology lab over there before you go there. He was actually working in Wuhan on a work visa in 2019. He only just barely got out before the whole pandemic started, and he has some wild stories to tell about that place. He says he's convinced that it was a lab leak, and I consider him a fairly reliable source, but there are also plenty of reliable sources that say it could have been zoonotic transmission at a wet lab. So again, I'm not convinced we'll ever know the true source. He was patient zero. No. Yeah, wasn't patient zero, because I think he got out of Wuhan somewhere. I think it was like late summer, like June, July, August of 2019 is when he left Wuhan. So I don't think it was him. That'd be funny as shit if it was, though. Holy crap. No, I don't think that's the case. Anyway, let's finish up our abs, and then we'll stretch it out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are raised leg sit-ups. These are good because sit-ups engage upper abs. Keeping your legs up like this engages your lower abs. There's one other thing about COVID that really pissed me off with our response. 50, 51, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. Oh. So, one of the biggest comorbidities of COVID was obesity. And there's no question that we have an epidemic of obesity in this country. That much goes without saying. What bothers me is that our response to COVID was to lock down and close gyms, which is a big part of what helped keep a lot of people from being obese. That was shooting ourselves in the foot. We should never have locked down the gyms. Yes, I get there's an elevated risk of transmission in the gym, but the gym makes people's responses stronger to COVID, because I'm convinced of this. I'm convinced the 2 reasons I wasn't majorly affected is because I was vaccinated and because look at me, I'm strong. I have a good immune system. I very seldom get sick. Maybe once or twice a year I'll feel under the weather at most. And it's usually just a cold. But gyms help people in terms of strength, and they help people keep excess fat off. Excess fat is a comorbidity of COVID, and as such, this is just one where I feel very strongly about. I feel, for me, before I had my home gym, the gym was a place of camaraderie where I would talk to people, where I would socialize, where I would get a good workout in, where I would keep my body in good shape, stave off obesity, improve my cardio system, improve my muscle response, and improve my mental health. And all of those things, to me, are extremely valuable. That's what we talk about a lot on this channel. So I think locking down gyms... Okay, I'll put it this way. Locking down gyms for maybe the first couple of weeks made sense, at most. But beyond that, open them back up. Everything's a trade-off in policy making. And I think the cons of closing down gyms outweighed the pros pretty much from the outset. And feel free to disagree with me on that. I respect other people's differing opinions. It's very easy, too, to criticize response in hindsight. 20, 21, 23, 24, 26, 40, 41, 42, 44, 45, 46, 47, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 60. My dad was so sick in January of 2020. We think he had COVID. I definitely do. You definitely do support the fact that gyms were closed for basically a year after the initial pandemic response. If so, I'd like you to explain your opinion. I strongly and vehemently disagree, but I respect your opinion nonetheless. And if so, when do you think public gyms should, or public, public gyms should have reopened? Hey, fantasy, animal, vegan, that's a name. The final financial independence countdown. Let me finish these two sets, and I will explain that one. The short answer is, in 691 days, which is a few weeks before my 30th birthday, I will, should I choose to, be able to retire. That's the shortest explanation I can make. And if you're curious as to how the hell I'm able to pull that off, stick around. I'll explain in depth. 2, 3. Resets. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Because, Cat Bro, I will say, you and I disagree on quite a few things politically, but I think I really respect your point of view. I think you put a lot of thought into your opinions, which is why I like hearing from you. You challenge a lot of my assumptions and my worldview, and I think that's a good thing. I'm not doing push-ups because shoulder's been sore. We needed to close down the gym, people to respect social distancing. We have enough fully vaccinated people to achieve herd immunity. So, you think public gyms should have stayed closed until that would have been what? Well, we never really did achieve herd immunity, did we? So, forever? Because herd immunity is like what, 80, 85% vaccinated? We never got that far. I think we kind of topped out around, what, 70% before the remaining 30% said, nah, I don't want to get vaccinated? Around 70%. So yeah, I'd heard it was higher. I heard it was like 85, 90. Even though it's just a variation of the flu. No, that is scientifically and objectively wrong. Coronavirus was absolutely a different type of disease. That's not true. We have scientific evidence that it wasn't the flu, or it wasn't the same thing as the flu. By people getting sick and recovering from COVID. Okay, so can you give me a date based on how things went in the pandemic? When would you have reopened the gyms? Remember, keeping the gyms closed has an adverse mental health effect on people and increases obesity rates, which makes comorbidities higher.
not too many people have enough discipline or access to home gyms to continue lifting through that pandemic. Sometime late 2021, well, I will tell you, if you had kept gyms locked down that long, I would have been furious. That would have done serious damage to my mental health. 41. 2, 3, 4, 5. I respect your opinion, Capro, and I understand the logic behind it. I could not disagree more intensely about that one if I tried. People can work out without being a gym. It's not the same. There is, and this is scientific fact as well, you need heavy resistance training to build muscle. That is an objective fact. Not to mention there is a litany of evidence that suggests higher muscle mass on your body is very positively correlated with lower percentages of body fat. The reason for this is very simple. When you have more muscle on your frame, your body will naturally burn more calories day in and day out to maintain it. This is true. Okay, yeah, now, here in 2023, our response to COVID should be drastically different from how it was in 2020. A lot of the measures that were necessary in 2020, I do not feel would be necessary today. All right. Excuse me for just 1 second. I was homebound, just me gained 60 pounds over the entire 3 years. See, that's a huge problem. A lot of people put on what they call the COVID-20, or in your case, God, the COVID-60. That's a huge comorbidity risk jumping. And that's why I feel the gyms should be a special exception, even though it may increase transmissibility. And again, I respect your opinion, Capro. Just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean it's not a valid opinion. Oh, piss time. I'll explain why I do this. So Fantasy Animal Vegan, first off, welcome on into the chat. And now that we finished our abs, we can talk about finances and stocks and the rest of all the stuff that I normally do on this channel in the Q&A section. If the disease isn't getting spread, it can't mutate. Chest looks bigger. Yeah, I had a pretty good pull or push day today. So this here is a piss jug. Why do I have this? I have this because I fill, this is about a quarter of the way up, I fill the rest with water, and I dump it on my compost pile outside. Human urine has a high percentage of nitrogen in it, and that nitrogen, if diluted correctly, can allow brown plant matter in your compost pile to break down. So there you go. That's an environmentally friendly thing to do. All right, let's talk about financial independence. You were Fantasy Animal Vegan. You were asking about this. So, I graduated from Texas A&M University in 2017. Ever since I graduated, I have wanted to become financially independent. I define financially independent as you can cover all of your life's expenses without having to work a normal 9-to-5 style job if you don't wish to. Ferment that piss, you could do some natural tie-dyeing. I like tie-dye, but I don't often like the people who wear tie-dye, if you get what I mean by that. This tie-dye is pretty dope. Tie-dye, I like the color. Anyway. Okay. So, how did I get to this point in my financial independence journey? The way that I did this is I went to mechanical engineering at Texas A&M. Why did I choose mechanical engineering? Not because it was my passion. It was something I enjoyed doing, but it's not my passion. Frankly, if I had to pick a passion, it'd probably be this, what we're doing right here. Helping you guys get in better shape, and talking and all of that. So I chose mechanical engineering because it had good economic prospects. It had a reasonably high starting salary, especially from A&M, which is a very good program for mechanical engineering, and more importantly, very low unemployment rates. As a result, well, I started off with actually a below average salary relative to my peers from mechanical engineering from A&M, but in a very low cost of living area. I hunted out low cost of living areas because it's a lot easier
to slash your spending than it is to make more money. Americans, we're very good at being competitive about trying to maximize our salaries. We are awful at limiting our consumption. Americans are incredibly wasteful on average. As a result, we spend lots of money we don't need to on shit okay, Americans, we tend to buy shit we don't really need to impress people we don't really like, and it'll all end up in a landfill in 40 years anyway. So instead, what have I chosen to do? I've chosen to continually optimize my expenses. Instead of focus so much on the making money side, and my salary's increased over the coming years. I've got more creds. Now I've got clearances because I work in the nuclear industry. I've got nuclear experience. I've got design experience and all that, and that's great. But much more important has been my ability to optimize my spending, finding roommates, finding cheaper places to have my housing, buying an efficient car and not, going out and buying a big flashy one, minimizing all my expenses, finding hobbies that are affordable, like this. Capro is right about the cold, by the way. The trouble is the common cold, quote unquote, is a variety of different rhinoviruses. It's not just one strain. So if you get quote unquote a cold, it could be one of any number of a bunch of small viruses. But as far as optimizing my spending is concerned, that's exactly how I've been able to sort of crack it. What I've done with all the money that I've taken. Hey, Jordan T. Robinson, welcome on in. Thank you very much for the first time chat. Just getting into this, what is going on? Well, we finished our pole workout. We've done our abs, we've done our handstand push-ups, and now we're in the Q&A section of my stream. So my name is Bull Muscle. I previously was known as Beer Batter Dag. Ask me anything. Right now we're talking about this up here, how I'm going to become financially independent before I turn 30 years old. There's no magic tricks. There's no I inherited a shit ton of money. There's no I made a ton of money in the stock market. It's all pretty basic stuff that anyone could do. So the next step of my financial independence journey was when I moved in 2021 from Texas here to South Carolina. I wanted to get into the nuclear industry pretty much since senior year of college, and this gave me an opportunity. This gave me an ability to get in. I work at a nuclear site here in South Carolina. Now, this nuclear site, I'll give y'all an example of where it is. It's in Aiken County. Well, it's in Aiken County, Barnwell County, and a tiny sliver of Allendale County. So I could have chosen to live in Evans or in North Augusta, and paid a lot more and then commuted a lot more to get to where I work. Instead, I chose to live closer to the site, closer to my place of work, and buy housing for less money. In the USA, you don't have allowances at all, right? What's an allowance? What do you mean by that? Are you talking I'm not sure what you're talking. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Jordan, if you have any questions, ask me anything. I can explain basically anything. In the meantime, I'm going to do a little bit of stretching too, so I'm a bit sore. Anyway, so instead I chose a much cheaper town to live in. Hey, Z Bloom, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate that. I think we're over 1380 at this point. We keep this up, we'll hit 2,000 by the end of the year, and I'd really like to do that. Oh, that feels good. Oh. Anyway, so I chose a much lower cost of living area. The next step, I have a roommate. I could, just live in this house myself. It's certainly very affordable, and I saved up a down payment so I don't have PMI. Instead, I have a roommate here. As a result, most of my mortgage is covered by my roommate's rent. And before y'all say, oh, you're exploiting your roommate, she pays less in rent here than she would anywhere else for a much nicer place to live. And she gets use of, she can charge her car here, she can lift in the gym for free. There's a lot of benefits to where she lives here. Yeah, if by allowances you mean pensions or Social Security, yes, we have something called Social Security here where you pay taxes on for every payroll. It's called FICA. And you can have allowances when you lose your job or when you're sick and a lot of other situations. So we have some of that, but not all of that. We do have unemployment benefits. When you lose your job in the United States, you can go on unemployment provided that you're looking for a new job and that you were laid off and you didn't quit. If you quit, then you can't take unemployment. Sick is a little bit different. In the US, we had a little bit of that during the pandemic, but sick leave policies in the United States are pretty poor, frankly. In general, we don't get a lot of time off in the United States. It's just not part of our culture, which has its pros and it has its cons. Frankly, I think the United States we could learn a few things from the Europeans on that one. In general, I think in the United States we work too many hours, and if we worked fewer hours, we would be more productive, and therefore we would have a stronger, more robust economy. I think in general, I will credit the French here. I think like a 36-hour work week isn't a bad idea, especially because more and more jobs are becoming mental jobs, right? Where you're having to focus intensely on something, and there's a limit to how many hours a day you can do that. What are the health risks working at the nuclear plant? It's not a nuclear plant. Yeah, I don't work in that section of the nuclear industry. Yeah.
He sells, but who's buying?
32 and Fridays off. I currently work 40 and I get Fridays off, so I work 4 10-hour days. You need the French to teach you how to riot? No, I don't think that's necessary. Actually, I prefer the German model of labor organization in general. The Germans work about as many hours as the French do. The difference is that the French rely on the government to set labor laws, which is slow and inefficient, whereas the Germans use unions. And I think unions do a better job than the government does. In general, I support the German approach when it comes to labor rights. The French method is messy, slow, inefficient, and discourages competition. I personally, I'm much more, again, this is one where a lot of people say, oh, you're such a capitalist, blah, blah, blah. True, but I'm also very pro-union. Let's get the lat spread going. Yeah, look at them coming through the sides. Misunderstood that, what you said about your occupation. So no, that's fair. I said I was a nuclear worker. I said I was a nuclear engineer. I did not specify which sector of the nuclear industry I work in. Most people don't get that. That's part of the other reason I'm looking to retire early. I cannot in good conscience support what I do for a living, but it produces a paycheck and someone's got to do it. There are 2 sections of the nuclear industry. The first is generating electricity. You can figure out what the second one is. Let's get the lat spread. Look at that. Not bad. Not bad at all. What is your pro-union argument as a capitalist? Well, it's very simple. I believe that businesses should be allowed to act freely, and we should decrease barriers to entry. A perfect market, a truly perfect free market, is in most situations very difficult to achieve. However, businesses are allowed to collude and set wages and suppress wages. We've seen this happen time and time and time again. From railroad wages in the 1800s to more modern examples like what Silicon Valley did, suppressing engineers' salaries through the 2010s. Companies are allowed to collude and talk to each other and say, hey, let's all set wages here to keep them suppressed. Why can't workers have that same right? Which is what a union is. Let's organize and say, no, we demand this as our starting wage. I think that's a much better way to go. The other reason is because unions they can be corrupted, but so too can government be corrupted. In general, if you want to preserve labor rights, there are 2 ways to do it. You can do it through unions or you can do it through government. Unions are smaller and generally more efficient than governments are. Not to mention they're private and they are more directly responsible than government is. They're also a lot faster because they're smaller. The smaller an organization is, the more fast they can get consensus and move. Government naturally is a slow process, so I believe that unions can more adequately reflect changes. Not to mention, union leaders are a lot more likely than governors to understand the needs of their industry. take for instance the recent debates and talks between Norfolk Southern and their unions. The Norfolk Southern just agreed to a deal with a couple of major labor unions in the railroad industry to finally grant sick leave to the U.S. To a lot of U.S. rail workers. That's a huge deal. The rail workers in the United States have been looking to try and get that for decades, and they've been appealing to the government to be able to do so. The government should not be the one stepping in there. In this instance, I'm quite glad that the unions was the one that stepped up and made the deal. And I think Norfolk Southern is actually going to see stronger profits as a result, because they're going to have fewer accidents. They're going to have stronger. They're going to have a stronger, more rested, and healthier workforce. So I think this actually benefits both groups. Michigan pays 80% of salary while unemployed because of unions. There's one other problem I do have with unions, though, in this country in particular. In the United States, unions spend too much time protecting bad workers and not enough time getting better benefits for good workers. The worst offenders on this one are police unions and teachers unions. Those two are really bad about this because they're public sector unions. I believe very strongly that unions need to worry about making sure their workforce is doing the best job they can, but then getting paid fairly for it. Unions should not be in the business of protecting slackers. Unions should not be in the business of protecting people who fake working. That's not good for anyone. Unions should be in the job of protecting people who bust ass for their paycheck. Teachers unions, so this is a lot worse in blue states in general. California, there have been a lot of notorious cases, same with a lot of Midwestern and Northeastern states. Teachers unions are notorious for giving tenure to teachers who are frankly not very good at their jobs, who don't care about educating students, which if you're a teacher, you should not be going into the teaching field for pay. You should be doing it because you feel a calling to help students learn. And in doing so, that should be your priority. You're going in to try and teach students, teach children. That's a huge responsibility. And I will say the pay in a lot of red states is appalling for teachers. Oklahoma is probably the worst about this in the United States. But in a lot of blue states, instead of focusing on giving teachers better pay, better benefits, a lot of the time, too much effort is spent on protecting bad teachers, and that bothers me a lot. Oh yeah, paying a livable wage. I will say, I prefer the blue state approach to education more than the red state approach to education, but both have their problems. The biggest problem in the blue states is protecting bad teachers. The biggest problem in the red states is not paying teachers enough. Let me go get some water. We'll keep talking. This is awesome. Gotta stay hydrated. So it is also Financial Fitness Friday, so I think it's about time we take a look at the markets. Because I do believe in investment. I do believe that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world, and as such, investing will lead to riches in the long term as long as you do it sensibly. I'm also optimist. This is part of why I called myself Bull Muscle. I'm generally pretty bullish. I think things for humanity are generally getting better. I have very little patience for doomers. Now, the people who are negative about certain issues, but say, hey, here's a good solution, and I think we can make a difference. I think we can improve it. Those are people I like to talk to. The people who just sit there and whine, oh God, everything's getting worse. Fuck off. I have no interest in talking to you. You're never going to make anything better with that kind of mindset. All you're going to do is hurt yourself. And yeah, there's an old phrase is like behind every cynic is a optimist who's been burned one too many times, but you gotta stay hopeful. You gotta stay optimistic. Look, if guys like Nelson Mandela could go through decades of prison and stay optimistic about, getting equal rights for black people in South Africa, apartheid South Africa, you suck it up, Buttercup. Come on, be optimistic and look for solutions. So let's see, we have a holy moly major red day on the markets. Oh, fantastic. So I have ChargePoint stock, and ChargePoint had a major upswing, so I sold a covered call on my stock, and it's down 12% today, which means boom shakalaka, I can buy back that call for profit. One thing I do, now most of my money is invested in things like VTI, in basic, broad-based index funds that track things like the S&P 500. I have some others, VXUS for international diversity, VYM for high dividend yield, VDE for energy exposure, VO and VB for small and mid caps, and VNQ for real estate, for instance. A little bit of diversification is good on that, but in general, very few things will beat the good old-fashioned index, low-cost index fund tracking the S&P 500. 90% of investors do not beat the S&P 500. Do you think you're better than 90% of investors? Ask that honestly, because remember, a lot of investors have spent years going to colleges to study how to trade properly. If you're not, be very careful about disregarding broad-based index funds. Now, I still do have what I call a play fund. Generally, I try to keep about 80% of my investment net worth in these index funds. The other 20% I can buy and sell stocks as I please. And with the 20%, I will often like to sell options. I think of this like foregoing the ability to smack a home run and instead focus on hitting singles, as an example. So if you're selling covered calls on stock you own, usually what I like to do is buy a stock, sell a covered call on that stock at 10 to 20% above what I bought it for, and keep doing that until that stock hits. And then I profit 10 to 20% on the stock, plus whatever I've made in premiums from selling those options. Yeah, this means I might not, if the stock doubles, I'm gonna miss out on that major ride, but more often than not, I'm gonna turn a much more reliable profit. Jordan T. Robinson, education. What did I go to school for? Was it worth it? I went to Texas A&M University for mechanical engineering. That is the M in Texas A&M. You can see that right there. Was it worth it? Yes. And why was it worth it? I did a return on investment calculation when I went to college. I said, okay, the average starting salary for a mechanical engineer coming from Texas A&M University in the year 2013 when I started, was around $70,000. I got out, my first salary was $66,000. So I actually ended up making less than I expected coming out of college, but that's a pretty good starting salary. Now, in college, I had to work really, really hard to get that degree. Mechanical engineering at Texas A&M is one of the best programs in the country. It's very, very good. But anyone could have made that decision. A&M is a huge school. In general, we have pretty good acceptance rates. Now that being said, you really have to bust ass to get that degree, and there's a reason we have Mays Business School. In fact, the joke is that we call it the Mays Business School for failed engineers. But if you bust ass enough, you can get it. Just a question, who are the demons of Salazar you can summon with channel points? That is a Filthy Frank reference, and it's from 100 Life Hacks. Now, Filthy Frank is that's very much kind of early to mid 2010s internet humor. As sort of a late gen millennial, that's kind of my wheelhouse for what I think is funny. I think Filthy Frank is hilarious. It's shit you shouldn't laugh at, but you just can't help yourself. So that's where it is. Filthy Frank, in that he just go watch 100 Life Hacks by Filthy Frank if you want to understand that reference. That's all I can say. If you know, you know. It's that sort of thing. That is assuming your chances of getting a job. Sounds like your chances were high. Yes, that's the major reason I picked mechanical engineering instead of nuclear engineering or any other engineering degree. Mechanical engineering is a very broad spectrum. You can work in oil and gas, you can work in automotive, you can work in HVAC, you can work in design, aerospace, power generation. You can work in a huge amount of fields as a mechanical engineer. As a result, unemployment rates for mechanical engineers are very low. Same with electrical engineers or civil engineers, because there is such a broad spectrum of jobs you can get with that degree that there's always a demand for them. Itchy Nurse, would you date a military woman or a banker woman? I grew up in a military family. Absolutely, I would date a military woman. Would I date a banker woman? Sure thing, absolutely. I would date any woman of any profession. I would date an OnlyFans star, be it male or female, actually. I don't judge. What I do care about is, would I date someone who is bad with spending that money? No. if you piss away a lot of your money on shit you don't need, that's a huge red flag, and it means your lifestyle is not compatible with my lifestyle. So if you're good with your money, now we're talking. Financial responsibility is a turn on. It's one of my turn-ons. Fight me. Okay, so thoughts on government UFO whistleblower says government has non-intact human craft from Damn Wrath. I believe in stoicism here. Stoicism says, do not worry about that which you cannot control. UFOs, there's nothing you or I or any normal people can do about it, so I don't pay much attention to it. So I don't really have any thoughts on that. Another PSYOP distraction from the Trump indictment. I do think Trump should be indicted for what he's done. That being said, I also believe Hillary and Biden should be indicted for what they've done. If I mishandled classified documents in the way any of those three have, but I will say especially Trump, because Trump's crimes are worse here, I would be going to jail. I work in the nuclear industry. I deal with sensitive information. It's just part of, if you work in the nuclear industry, you're going to come across some of that stuff. So yeah, I have a huge problem with what Trump did. And he absolutely should be tried and, if found guilty, sent to prison. Thrifty is sexy in my opinion. Damn right. Again, okay, so we're going to talk about this for a moment. What is the secret sauce? How am I going to be able to retire before I'm 30? Ladies and gentlemen, this is it right here. This is the big secret. I save about 80% of my income. That's why. The AG said that in his decision whether to indict Hillary. It's not to say another individual would not be indicted for this. Yeah, Hillary should have been indicted. She had classified shit on that email server. That is a crime, and she got away with it, which is unconscionable. She should be in prison. Biden should also probably be in prison for a lot of the mishandling of documents he had. However, the difference between those two is very simple. Classified information was found on Hillary's server and on some of the stuff Biden had put away. Classified nuclear information was found on the documents Trump took from the White House. There is a gigantic difference there. Nuclear secrets are a bit of a different animal. So all three of them should be tried, but Trump's crimes here are more serious than the other two's. Damn Raf, I believe all presidents should be senior past 60. I'd say 65. But yeah, in general, we need no more boomer presidents. We need a new generation in power. Gen X, it's your time to shine. It's insane. Some of it was missing. Itchy Nurse, some very good money. My emergency fund is worth 2 years and I live very frugally. That's awesome. Much respect. If I was wearing a hat right now, I'd take it off. I love to hear stuff like that. So, they're thinking he intended on selling it. Unfortunately, you can't judge intent without a ass ton of evidence, and I don't think they're going to get that. But you don't need the intent to prosecute here. Now, I'm not a lawyer, thank God, because lawyers are scum of the earth. But in general, I'm comfortable with them going after Trump for this. There have been plenty of political witch hunts against Donald Trump, frankly. A lot of what was called Russiagate in 2018 and 2019 was bullshit. But what Trump has done here with nuclear secrets, no, that is a legit crime. So I think there was definitely a lot of what is called Trump derangement syndrome on the left, but this one is absolutely worth getting worked up about. That's the other thing too. I think people are like, oh, the leftists are defending Hillary. No, they're fucking not. Like, legit leftists do not like Hillary Clinton. Banker Dems need to go down. As a moderate, I have mixed feelings about that. I think what we need is first past the post reform, because actual democratic socialists, the likes of Bernie Sanders or the DSA, should not have to share the same party with the likes of people like myself or Joe Manchin or Kirsten Sinema, I believe, left. But you get the point. The blue dogs, the conservative Democrats, and the democratic socialists should not have to share the same party. We have very different opinions, and it makes it harder for the party to function because it has to cater to such a wide political brand. Yes, I would love ranked choice voting. Absolutely. Anyway, so let's see how the market's doing. So it is a red day. The only thing that continues to rise is my. So I have stock in SoFi. I've been loading up on SoFi for a long time because I knew it was only a matter of time before student loan forgiveness was going to go away. It needed to, frankly. Look, you chose to take out loans for your education. They were loans. They weren't gifts. Loan companies are not Santa Claus, and they do have an obligation to their shareholders and to their owners to collect on the debts they loan out. So I have no problem with that. Student loans, as a result, that repayment has mean SoFi stock has risen from about $5 a share about a month ago. It's currently at, let's see, $8.37 a share. Yeah, I have no problem with that. How do I feel about SoFi? I'm bullish on it. I own stock in SoFi, and I think they have a bright future. That being said, I've got covered calls ranging from $9 a share up to $12 a share for most of my shares, and I would profit if any of those calls hit. Do you think the political two-party system is just an illusion of choice, but in reality they are both controlled by global elites? No, I don't think that's true. I think the two-party system is a natural failure of the constitutional system as it was set up in 1787. The Founding Fathers didn't realize it at the time because political science hadn't advanced enough to be able to work this out, but it is mathematically provable that a first-past-the-post system inevitably results in two parties because it's winner take all. If you get 51% of the vote, you get 100% of the representation. That's a fundamental flaw of the US constitutional system, and I believe it needs to be fixed. The people who say, oh, it's just... I had a verbal argument with the VP of product at SoFi. Interesting. Okay, well, Capro, if you're a SoFi bear, I would love to hear the bear argument. Boomers' education was subsidized by the government, as is our current education. The difference is that, we have 43 people in chat. All right, Severus, you are getting your war hymn. Ooh, but first I need to figure out if that's in the public domain, because if it's not, I can't do this. Is the Aggie war hymn in the public domain? Someone ping Severus in here. There we go. Is the Aggie war hymn? I believe I can do this. I've done this before and it's never been a problem. Yeah. I'm like 99% sure this is in the public domain. This is true. Well, the main reason schools have not been subsidized as much for our generation as it was the boomers' generation is a simple math problem. We are putting way more people nowadays in college than we were in the 1970s and 1980s. Not to mention, colleges, because we've subsidized them, colleges have taken that as an incentive to jack up tuition prices and put in, frankly, ridiculous stuff. How many universities really need multiple climbing walls? Like Arizona State has a fucking lazy river on campus. Is that really necessary? And please, if someone can tell me what a provost does, you'd be the first person. Because that just seems, provost just screams useless useless university position that does nothing to me. State funding cuts it depends on what state, but yes, that's also been a big part of it. How should it work if not based on majority rule? It's not majority rule it's not that it isn't majority rule. I like what it's called ranked choice voting. So ranked choice voting, and it doesn't have to be this system. You can go with a more European style parliamentary system with runoff votes. That works pretty well in addition. But with ranked choice voting, the way it works is you have, let's say, 5 candidates on a ballot for a position. Be that governor, president, senator, representative. Let's say you have a far right party, a right wing party, a centrist party, a left-wing party, and a far-left party. And let's say you're a socialist. So you'd go ranked choice, probably something along the lines of, far left first, then left, then center, then far right, then right. So you get a point for each right, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then you submit your ballot. Let's say someone else comes along who's very, very conservative. It's the other way, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you do that, right? And you keep track of those points for every candidate, and the candidate with the least amount of points wins the position. CGP Grey on YouTube did a really good video about this, and that's a great example. So, for-profit colleges are Okay, so there's a difference between a for-profit college and a private school, but yeah, for-profit colleges like the University of Phoenix and DeVry University are mostly bullshit. Okay, so without further ado, I'm gonna go get my A&M hat and my ring because we're gonna do this. I'm gonna do it. Ooh, I need my towel too. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it properly. We're gonna sing the Aggie War Hymn because I promised my wonderful admin Severus that I would if we hit 40 people, and I saw we did. So stand right by. We're gonna do the war hymn. Here we go. Oh, come on. Hullabaloo, connect, connect. Hullabaloo, connect, connect. Goodbye to Texas University. So long to the orange and the white. Good luck to the dear old Texas Aggies. They are the ones who show the real old fight. The eyes of Texas are upon you. That is the song they sing so well. Sounds like hell! So goodbye to Texas University. We're gonna beat you all to chicka-rugga-rum, rough, tough, real stuff, Texas A&M. Goodbye to Texas University. So long to the orange and the white. Good luck to the dear old Texas Aggies. They are the ones who show the real old fight. The eyes of Texas are upon you. That is the song they sing so well. Sounds like hell! So goodbye to Texas University left. We're gonna beat you all to chigga-rugga-rim, rough stuff, real tough, Texas A&M. Saw varsity's horns off. Saw varsity's horns off. Saw varsity's horns off. Short! Hey! Varsity's horns are sawed off. Varsity's horns are sawed off. Varsity's horns are sawed off. Short! Hey! Woo! Ah, it ended early. Alright, I'll do the last verse by myself. Late one night while the T-Sips were in bed, old Soul Ross took a lamp out to the shed. The Aggie tipped it over and this is what he said. It'll be a hot time in Austin tonight. Late one night while the T-Sips were in bed, old Soul Ross took a lamp out to the shed. The Aggie tipped it over and this is what he said. It'll be a hot time in Austin tonight. You know. And that's about it. There you go, there's the war hymn. Also, how come you did not major in finance? Mechanical engineering had better starting wages and lower unemployment rates. But I am absolutely, just because I changed my name from Beer Battered Ag to Bull Muscle does not mean I am a diehard Aggie. I am, and I always will be. They may embarrass me. They may hire dickheads like Bobby Petrino, but I will always rep my beloved alma mater. And I got the ring to show for it. Yep, class of 17. Now I know class rings, a lot of people say, oh, that shit's cheesy. At A&M, it's a really big thing. Even finance. Well, now, it is different based on where you go. So, for A&M, we're a really strong engineering school. Our business school is good, but it's not great. Yeah, finance generally wants Ivy League. And with A&M, again, it's not bad. It's just not our wheelhouse. So, engineering was a better option in terms of, you know, what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. Hopefully, that comes through on the recording pretty well. Hey, Music Comp, thank you very much for the 2 subscriptions. By the way, if you guys see right here, this is Reveille, the Texas A&M mascot, and she is the only dog that can command a entire Corps of Cadets. So she is a 5-star general in the Texas A&M Corps of Cadet Army. The amount of weird Aggie shit that is out there kind of blows the mind. But I like that we do weird shit. It makes us unique. It's the other education. So a little context on what you just heard me sing. That is the Aggie War Hymn. So Texas A&M doesn't officially have a fight song, but we do have the War Hymn, which we sing at football games and at midnight yells and pretty much at everything else. Why do we have a war hymn but not a fight song? Texas A&M's history here is that for a long time it was a very military-oriented school. In fact, you had to join the Corps of Cadets, which is a military training program, until 1963. Non-regs began being admitted in 1963. And hey, Aggie Pride, NCA&T, let's go! Love HBCUs too, man. Prairie View A&M's my HBCU school though, because Prairie View and Texas A&M actually grew up kind of together. But regarding the War Hymn, the reason it's called the Aggie War Hymn is because that song was written in a trench in the Argonne Forest in France in 1918. It was written by Pinky Wilson while he was, sitting in a trench in World War I. Where's my roommate? Yeah, she's at work. She has to work. Actually, she works only 32 hours, but she works 4 days a week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whereas I work 40 hours, 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it works out kind of nice, honestly, because that means there's only 2 days of the week where someone isn't here. I know I just met you, but I like you'll tune in more often. Kick ass, if you haven't hit that follow button, always love having new followers. I'd love to get to 2,000 by the end of the year. That would be really cool. But hey, if you're in North Carolina, I'm just 1 state below you. So actually, I will be up in Myrtle Beach next weekend. So if you're around that part of North Carolina, hey, we go hang out on the beach together if you want. I love meeting fans. It's always fun. So let's see what else we've got going on. Let's turn. You're in Durham? Get out! I was in Burlington literally last weekend watching a sock puppets game because a lot of my friends are YouTubers and they took on the sock puppets in Bros versus Pros. That was a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and go to our Vanguard account. And while we're doing that, we'll track our macros. We had egg whites, 100 calories, 24 grams protein, half a gram of fat and carbs apiece. We had protein shake. That is 340 calories, 56 grams of carbs, 7 grams of fat, 56 grams of protein, 7 grams of fat, 16 carbs. All right, well, I'll be in Myrtle Beach this weekend. It's like North Myrtle, that area. So if you want to come hang out, hit me up on the Discord, okay? Type in boom shakalaka. Yeah, so there we go. So right now we're at 80 grams of protein and 440 calories, which is baller. That's really good. So let's log into Vanguard here, and we'll see how the stock market's doing. You guys can't see this part because, duh. I don't think I need to explain that one. $9.05. Can't say that on stream. Always go with the 2FA for your investment account, by the way. Came in for a raid from, I think, Cole Runnings was just watching. Dude, Cole's great. I love his stuff. All right. You got to go alert? Cool. Well, I appreciate you showing up, Jordan. Hopefully you stick around. So let's see here. If we've got SoFi continuing to print. Oh! My charge point call down 64% in one day. Love to see it. How many carats of gold is in your ring? I believe this is just basic 10 karat gold. But it's just the basic one. It's solid. It's reliable. It's so there's a story about the Aggie ring here. With the Aggie ring, The way it usually works is that if you go into a job interview and you're wearing your ring and another Aggie is the one interviewing you, you've got that job. Unless you're competing with other A&M grads. If you live in Texas, you know just how strong the Aggie network is. This probably applies the most in oil and gas, but it works really well in defense, nuclear, automotive, and quite a few other, agricultural, of course, and quite a few other industries as well. So let's see here. What do we have? Charge point call. What did I sell that for? Balances. Why is charge? Let's find out why ChargePoint stock has plummeted so bad on this day. There's got to be some reason. You don't see a 12-point drop like that just because. So why did ChargePoint? Whoa. Oh yeah, ChargePoint's fucked. Owners of General Motors electric vehicles will be joining Ford users in using Tesla's charging network instead of J1772 or CCS. That's a huge deal. In other words, Tesla stock is probably flying really high this morning. I'm out of curiosity. It is up 4%. Yeah, there you go. I would bet so. That was the single most brilliant thing Tesla did, was create that network. That's their trump card. The cars are good. Tesla's cars are very good, but having that network is game changer. That does sound like BYU. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. So there's an interview on Reddit where they did, it was an ex-CIA operative, and they said, which two groups have way more power in the intelligence community than you'd expect? And his response was, and I'm quoting here, Mormons and Aggies, I'm not kidding. And I can explain why that is. For Mormons, it's very simple. They have close, dense, family-knit communities, and they don't drink. Makes life, and they don't do drugs. Very easy to, get them in on board. With Aggies, it's because working for the feds and working for, three-letter agencies has been something we've been doing since World War I. In fact, a lot of the early origin stories for A&M is based around us becoming sort of a quasi-military prep school. In fact, that was the only reason A&M survived the early days, because there was, in the early days, a very high likelihood that the university was actually going to get shut and turned into an asylum. So that's a huge, huge drop for ChargePoint stock. I'm going to go ahead and set, let's see, cost basis. What did I sell that call for? I sold that call for $31, and it's currently sitting at 16. So set a buy limit for 10, see if we can swipe that today. Oh yeah, so the bid's at 13. Might just get lucky here. Let's go. Set a limit order for 10. Set it for, let's see, what do we have in order here? Go ahead and continue. Put that as a sell to open. Boom, shakalaka laka. Did you ever reflect it on the stock market or maybe crypto, whether they're not Ponzi schemes? Crypto and the stock market are not Ponzi schemes. That's ridiculous. No, that's. Why would you think it's a Ponzi scheme? If anything, the closest thing to a Ponzi scheme, and this also isn't one, but is Social Security. Neither of them are really Ponzi schemes. The stock market is a representation of the American public and American industry's willingness to invest in itself, to save money, place that money in investment vehicles because they think companies or industries will get them a better return with the money. That would be like saying capitalism itself is a Ponzi scheme. And if you believe that, I think you and I have some fundamental disagreements about how the world works. I don't think capitalism is a Ponzi scheme. I really, in general, I like capitalism quite a lot.
It's not perfect system. There is no perfect system. But in general, I'm a fan. Andre, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a hot minute. What else do we got going on in the stock market today? We've got, puts are falling. That's good. Coinbase stock is down a little bit. I am bullish on Coinbase. That's my exposure to crypto. It's not a huge part of my portfolio, but I do believe, like, Coinbase is taking on the SEC. I believe the crypto space has not been given the regulatory clarity in the United States that it should have been. I hate saying this, but Canada and Europe have done a better job than we have in terms of giving crypto companies clear regulation on what is and isn't a security. The SEC has failed at this, and Gary Gensler needs to be fired. He's done a very bad job of regulating crypto. He's basically played whack-a-mole instead of actually giving clear regulatory guidance. Nice to see you. Yeah, it's always good to have recurring visitors. So welcome back in. Always good to have you. What else do we got expiring? Got what's my cost basis on SoFi anyway? I want to sell. Let's see. 12 a call. Okay, so if I were to sell a call at $12 a share, executing October 20th of this year, so that's 4 months. It's selling for. Let's see here just what it would sell for. It's currently selling for 40 cents. So 40 cents, and that's. Calls occur for every 100 shares, so really you'd get $40 as your revenue here. So you'd make $40 from this trade, and it expires, the strike price, or the strike date is about 4 months from now. So if annualized, you do this 3 times in a year, so you get roughly $120 for a strike price of $1,200, so that's a return rate of about 10%. That's pretty decent. I will probably pass on doing that today. I think I'm going to hold fire on the rest of my SoFi stock until if it creeps up above $9 a share, I might sell another call or two. I've been reflecting about recently. I saw a BBC interview from an economist making claims about it. Mind you, I also invest in stocks. Yeah, I don't think capitalism and the stock market is a Ponzi scheme. I think you do have a certain amount of irrational exuberance in certain industries. For instance, markets will rise and fall based on investor sentiment, but that doesn't mean Ponzi scheme, right? A Ponzi scheme is where you're not actually investing in a business or a service. Rather, you are directly taking money from new entrants to the market just to pay previous obligations on an older customer, and that's all you're doing. You're not actually investing it in something. And you're promising outlandish claims, and the only time that'll work is if you just buy time. So, no, I do not think the stock market is a Ponzi scheme. I think it's a flawed. I think it's a flawed system. It's not perfect, but it's not a Ponzi scheme either. Do I want to make any other moves today? Let's see what else we got on the markets. It looks like the indices, the major indices, which that's the bulk of my money is in, are relatively flat. VB is down almost 1%. VYM's pretty flat. VTI is very slightly up. It's 0.09%. That's not really much to move the needle. I think I'm gonna hold pat for now. I don't see anything. I don't see any investment moves I need to make. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Pork futures. Oh, speaking of the stock market, Trading Places is a fantastic movie, and I love it. I also will say the boys at Wall Street Bets are entertaining as hell. They are idiots, but they are the best kind of idiots. They're idiots that are somewhat self-aware. They're in on the joke. The GameStop short squeeze of 2021 was all sorts of ridiculous, and I love the fact that it happened. How do you diversify your portfolio? So in general, this is one of my favorite funds for this is VXUS. So VTI tracks the S&P 500, which is the 500
or thereabouts. It's an approximation. Most valuable companies in the United States. Sometimes a little bit more than 500, but you get the idea. The blue chips, basically, things like Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, General Motors, Tesla, things like that. Now, diversification. VXUS is the same concept, but for companies that are not headquartered in the United States. This gives you international diversity. So this is companies like Siemens. This is companies like Toyota. This is like companies like Rolls-Royce, I think, is... Rolls-Royce might be not big enough cap. Siemens, Toyota, I guess Haribo, maybe? I don't know if they haven't been bought by someone. You get the idea. Like Diageo, I think they're a liquor sales company, and I think they're based in Ireland. But you get the idea. So international diversity is one way. Another way you could do it was with bonds. I'm not the hugest fan of bonds if you're young like I am. I think bonds are, you're basically, instead of, right, where I call selling covered calls is like hitting singles, bonds to me is more, unless you're going with like municipal or corporate bonds where you actually get a decent rate of return above inflation, like federal treasuries are more like guaranteed strikeouts. I don't think it's that good. You're not hitting into a double play, but it's also, you're usually trailing inflation. So you're basically guaranteeing a loss. And the only way you come out ahead is if the stock market falls more in that time. And effectively what you're trying to do there is time the stock market, which I don't think is wise. So I'm not a huge fan of bonds and CDs, but there is a place for them. Commodities can be a good option. I'm not a huge fan of gold personally. If you're going to go with a commodity, I think silver is a better one because it's got more industrial value. What else? Speaking of pork, I need to handle lunch pretty soon, so we'll have to raid someone pretty shortly. But other ones, VO and VB, those are mid and small cap. I believe that's the way it is. I might have those mixed up. Those are mid and small cap index funds that work the same way as VTI does, but for instead of the top 500 companies, it's like the 1,000 or 2,000, like the Russell 2000, the 2,000 companies below that, for instance. And it's broken up by what is a small cap versus a mid cap versus a large cap. It's about how big your market capitalization is. Market capitalization is the number of shares that exist for your company multiplied by the price of those shares. And I don't know exactly where the cutoff is. I know it's a few $1 billion for small versus mid versus large. So I think it really depends. That would generally be where I would start. I have a little bit of VDE, that's oil and gas, mostly. It's energy stocks, but that means mostly oil and gas, a little bit of nuclear in there. I think oil and gas is going to stick around for longer than people understand it to. And the reason for that is because of the plastics industry. We haven't cracked bioplastics yet, and as a result, we're going to continue to need petroleum products to make plastics. When we do crack bioplastics, though, that is going to spell trouble for the oil and gas industry. So I probably won't hold on to VDE for the long haul, but for like the next 2 to 3 years, yeah, we're going to continue needing oil and gas. VYM, this is, I believe that's a high dividend yield. So that's stocks these are higher dividend yielding companies are companies that say, okay, we have found that there are kind of limited opportunities for growth within our industry. So instead, we're going to return the profits we make to our stockholders in the form of a dividend. That's a good way to get more guaranteed reliable income. There is a class of stocks called the dividend aristocrats. Those are stock companies that have never cut their dividends for, I think, 25 years. Itchy Nurse, did you at some point consider going into medicine? No. Biology just isn't really something I'm all that interested in. I respect doctors and nurses. They do a hell of a job, but it's not my interest. I also didn't want to go into 6 figures of medical debt, which to be a doctor you have to do in the United States, pretty much. Which other one? VNQ, that's the other one. That is a real estate investment firm. I believe in general, that's a pretty easy way to make money is with REITs. You get a little bit of real estate exposure in doing that. Now, the real estate market will go up and go down as well, but in general, the United States is getting ever more prosperous, and at least as a result, that means real estate values will continue to climb. So that's generally how I diversify. It is getting a bit later in the day than I would have wanted. We've been streaming for almost 3 hours, so I think we're gonna go ahead and we're talking about Coel. Let's go raid Coel Runnings. We haven't raided him in a while. Have you seen a doctor with a hot body? Oobly, welcome on in. Thanks for the first time chat. You've caught the end of the server or the end of the stream, but check out my Discord server. Put the link in if you want to hang out after the broadcast. We'll go raid Coel Runnings. By the way, I will be live again tomorrow at 9 a.m. same time. I think we're going to try something different, a little bit of hit. I want to try and get that wall bag mounted correctly. So hopefully we can get that done. All right, we're going to raid Coel. So as always, I'd just like to say thank you all for showing up. We had a ton of new followers today. I'll send you thank you messages after the broadcast is complete. As always, y'all make good decisions. Those decisions in the short run form habits. Those habits in the medium run form values, and those values in the long run form an ethos. That ethos can be the guide star through the rough waters of life. Much love, y'all. Come in for the hug. Big hug. There we go.